Very good evening to all of you. May I call your attention? We'll start the felicitation program. On behalf of the Department of Communication, SN School of Arts and Communication, I am glad to welcome all the friends, colleagues, students, uh, collaborators of Professor Vinod Pavarala for this felicitation program. We'll start this program with a short film, which we will all see, and then we'll continue with the proceedings.
Vinod Pavarala grew up in Hyderabad in the Vittalwadi area, a neighborhood shaped by shared streets, familiar faces, and a strong sense of community. These were years of quiet observation, everyday routines, and early engagement with the world around him. His formal academic journey began at Osmania University, where he first studied geology. But curiosity led him beyond the sciences, towards journalism, a field that sharpened his attention to detail, discipline, and the ability to listen closely. A brief professional engagement with the News Time and the Deccan Chronicle offered first-hand exposure to the workings of media and society. Seeking a deeper analytical framework, he turned to sociology at the University of Hyderabad. Followed by doctoral research at the University of Pittsburgh. Together, these formative years laid the intellectual foundation for a life committed to teaching, research, and public engagement. These experiences deepened his instinct to look beyond events, to question narratives, and to seek meaning beneath the surface. In 1995, Professor Vinod Pavarala returned to Hyderabad to join the Department of Communication at the University of Hyderabad. This moment marked the beginning of the most defining and enduring phase of his academic life. At a time when communication studies in India was still taking shape, he brought to the department a rare and valuable dual grounding: sociology and media studies. And his expertise is well recognized internationally in the field of communication for social change. His teaching was rigorous, reflective, and rooted in social realities. He encouraged critical thinking, ethical engagement, and clarity, shaping generations of students and young scholars. Beyond the classroom, he played a central role in building the Department of Communication as an intellectually robust and socially engaged space. Curriculum development, research mentoring, and academic planning became integral to his work, helping the department grow in stature and purpose. Leadership followed naturally. He served twice as head of the Department of Communication and later as Dean of the Sarojini Naidu School of Arts and Communication. Across these roles, he approached leadership not as authority, but as responsibility, strengthening institutional culture through dialogue, trust, and academic integrity. As the UNESCO Chair on Community Media since 2011, he worked with his team to strengthen community radio in India, across South Asia, and in parts of Africa and Europe. His work integrated research, policy advocacy, and capacity building, always grounded in the belief that communication must enable participation, access, and voice. As Director of the Office of International Affairs, he worked to expand academic exchange and international collaboration. These efforts brought global perspectives into the university while reinforcing its public and social character. Other voices, the struggle for community radio in India, captured the early struggles and successes of community radio in India. Community radio in South Asia, reclaiming the airways, extend this work regionally, reinforcing the link between media, democracy, and social change. As Dean, he believed the university must remain open to the cultural life around it. As an institution builder, he actively fostered engagement between scholarship and the arts, ensuring that the school became a space where ideas, performance, and critical inquiry could coexist and complement one another. Alongside teaching and leadership, Professor Vinod contributed extensively to institutional and national committees, spanning academic planning, accreditation, curriculum development, community engagement, and policy advisory roles. These contributions reflected a sustained commitment to linking scholarship with public responsibility. University of Hyderabad, this commitment took concrete form through the establishment of a community radio initiative within the university campus. But his research on community media was across different states and at the grassroots level in all parts of India, where learning and democratic communication intersected. As founder member and president of the Community Radio Forum of India, he played a pivotal role in shaping national policy and practice. His work helped democratize the airways, opening spaces for voices that had long remained unheard. His academic engagement remained global, from visiting appointments at leading universities to teaching on the Semester at Sea program. Learning moved across borders and contexts. In 2024, the George Watson Visiting Fellowship at the University of Queensland recognized the depth and continuity of his contribution to communication for social change. Yet, through these engagements, the University of Hyderabad remained his academic home. Beyond institutions, research, and policy work, there is family. Central to Professor Pavarala's journey has been the steady presence and support of his wife, Aparna Roy Prolu, whose companionship over the years has quietly sustained his work and commitments. Together with their daughter Saranya, the family has remained an enduring source of strength alongside his academic life. From classrooms to communities, from institution building to policy engagement, Professor Vinod Pavarala's journey reflects a life where scholarship remained in dialogue with society. The roles may conclude, the work continues.
Thank you for the film. That's Professor Vinod Pavarala's life in 8 minutes. I would like to acknowledge a firm launched by our alumnus, Buffalo Media. Three of them, Gautam, Saurabh, and Abhinek, are behind this team. And the voiceover was done by one of our alumnus, Glenn De Silva. We just sent it to him a day before, and he sent it overnight. So thanks to all of them. So there are a lot of people here who will be talking over this coming hour and a half. And it's only because that I'm HOD I get to speak first. So I'll go, I'll go first. And then I'll call upon our faculty, followed by non-teaching staff, faculty from university, alumnus, both PhD and MA, and whoever else wants to speak after that. So, as you have seen, Professor Vinod joined SN School as faculty in 1995. He had short stints before that in Pittsburgh and in Virginia Tech. I joined the master's program here in communication in 1996. I was the second batch he taught, full batch. So he started with half a batch, and I am the second batch. He was my favorite teacher. He was young and passionate about teaching. He would take all the classes as per timetable, come prepared to each class, and he used to give extensive feedback for all the assignments and encourage students in every possible way. I would come up and say, today there's, at that time, equipment was very difficult. I would come and say, KPS Gill has come. Can I interview him? He will say, go. So that's how he was. We might say, isn't that the minimum one should expect from a teacher in a higher education institution? And not really. Not in journalism and communication schools. Not because of any other reason, because we focus more on skills orientation and we have low theoretical rigor. Classroom engagement was pretty weak across many subjects. Practicals we used to do, but other subjects were a little weak. Not surprisingly, Professor K.E. Eapen, a pioneer of media education in India, referred to communication discipline as a discipline in distress, and many of us know that. Professor Vinod's sociological training at Pittsburgh helped him bring the much needed theoretical rigor to communication discipline in the country. He is our own Dennis McWell. So, like McWell, he transitioned from sociology to media studies early in his career. I don't know how much sociology lost due to this move, but communication studies in India definitely benefited a lot. The theoretical rigor he brought stabilized our MA master's program. We all bought into his conceptualization of producing quote-unquote thinking communicators. That's what he would say, with a right balance of skills and theory. And that has been the focus of our flagship master's program for a long time. Our doctoral program benefited a lot due to his presence and became the sought-after destination of communication scholars in the country. The effect was tremendous because we were the first departments to focus on research in the country in journalism and mass communication. Around 50 alumni of our department are working as faculty in many departments in India and abroad. In fact, one particular batch has 10 faculty members among 18 students, one of them. A lot of this credit goes to Professor Vinod and later to some of our senior colleagues here. I joined the department as faculty in 2003, a bit unwillingly. I never thought of myself as a teacher. That's when I started noticing his role in institution building. He worked as discipline coordinator. We didn't have communication department then. We were all disciplines within Essence School. Later, when it became the department, he was the first head of the department, and he was dean of Essence School twice. During these tenures, the faculty strength in the department went up from 4 in 2003 to 11 in 2014. He did his best in staffing the department. He closely worked with the administration, successive administrations, and ensured that the department got enough funds for buildings, TV studios, radio station, and multimedia labs. The red laterite building of Essence School, which gave it an unique architectural status, has been completed due to his consistent efforts. So he convinced the administration to get Kanade, an architect from Bangalore, and also to procure laterite from Jahirabad, which is on 140 kilometers away. The first contractor ran away, and then the building was left unfinished for an year. And due to rains, we could see growth almost till my height. So then they had to find another contractor and finish it. It was a little difficult, but that building gives us some unique status for the department in the university. Besides strengthening our academic programs and making contributions to infrastructure development, his research contributions have been significant, especially in the areas community media, community radio, and alternative voices. This consistent work brought the prestigious UNESCO chair for our department. With 4 books, 24 journal articles, 14 book chapters, many toolkits for capacity building, as member editorial boards of various journals, and as member on many academic committees, and as a guide for 12 PhD students, he has made enormous contributions to communication research in the department in the country. And for us, he is more than all these numbers. Personally, he has always been generous in mentoring and supporting me. There were a few occasions where we had our strong differences. I'm sure it was difficult dealing with me on these occasions. The best part is he would let it pass, won't hold grudges, and go on to show the usual warmth, and that's his nature. He's very liberal, secular, pragmatic, and his managerial efficiency is par excellence. A lot of liberal, secular people on the university campuses are quite noisy and attention seeking. Don't take it to heart. Professor Vinod, despite embodying these values, has always been self-effacing and pragmatic, something that made him acceptable to many different groups on the campus. He has been an institutional man all through his 30-year academic career. The department and the university have benefited immensely due to his contributions. We value them a lot. Professor Vinod, even though you're retiring, we will not leave you. We will continue to be in touch with you, find ways of collaborating with you. Please don't forget that our doors and hearts are always open to you. On behalf of the department, I extend our warmest wishes to you in this new journey. Thank you. And I would like to mention the efforts put in by Professor Kanchan in making this event successful. Last 3 weeks she has been on this, spending time and making Vamshi, Teresa, and all the team run around. So she has put her soul into it, apni jaan laga di. So she is Professor Vinod's best PhD student, if I can say so. So with this, we move to the next thing. There's a surprise video from, is it ready? From his daughter, Sharanya. We'll just see that. And then we move on to faculty.
Hi everyone, I'm Saranyam. For those who don't know me, I'm Vinod's daughter. I'm in the States right now doing a master's in photography. When my dad first told me about his decision of taking voluntary retirement to join Mahindra, I felt like it was the right thing to do. He wanted a change, and I wanted that for him. Working at an institution for over 3 decades becomes a part of who you are, and there's a bond that will stay with you for the rest of your life. This does not feel like he's leaving behind what he built, but taking it forward with him in a different way. Over the last 25 years, I built my own relationship with the department through him, and it's beginning to hit me only now that he's actually leaving. I lived on campus as a kid, and I feel very much at home there. Even though this ends his former relationship with the department, the bond that was created over the years is going to remain strong. The department always meant a lot to my dad, and it was just the way he used to talk about his work and his colleagues and the ideas that moved through the space. So even though this chapter comes to a close, the connection remains. What was built here over the years doesn't end with retirement, and it stays in memory and in values and the way you carry the department forward as he moves on to the next chapter of his life. I want to thank everybody for making it so special for my dad, and a special shout out to Kanchana auntie for organizing this event so thoughtfully and bringing everything together so seamlessly. I really wish I was there, but yeah, I hope to see you all soon, and hope you guys have a lovely day.
Yeah, thanks to Sharanya. We'll start with our faculty members and then department faculty members and then move to faculty members from across the university. We would like to start with Professor Manvi, who was one of our department's founders. We are glad that he's here. So it's only fitting that he starts this session. So to you, sir. Yeah, yes, sir.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Perhaps I am the only one in this room who was there when Vinod joined the department. And, and I'm here today when he's retiring from the department. The SN school was established, in a hurry, I should say, because certain grants were expiring, and then the Professor Krishnamurthy said, we have to start it. Actually, I'm not an academic person. I was a practitioner of television. We were called to suggest some syllabus for television course in the department, in the course of MA Communication, which had television as its component, And then suddenly, a beautiful studio was rigged up, and brand new equipment arrived, and then no one to teach it. So I was by then the producer in Doordarshan. I know nothing to do with communication. I did my master's in economics, and then went to Film and Television Institute of India and did a film direction course, and I never taught in any place. And then they requested that, why don't you please come and join in the department, because we have this beautiful studio equipment, but it's not being used. By the time I was also getting a little frustrated with Doordarshan, I quit and joined. And then only 3 of us were there in the department. Professor P.L. Vishweshwar Rao, and then C.V.S. Sharma, and then me. I mean, I was only teaching television and filmmaking, and PLV and Sharma were teaching theory. During that time, I think Professor Vinod came on a vacation from his on field work. He had come to India, and then he took some classes for our students. At that moment only we realized how great teacher he would be. Although he had not completed his PhD. And then we were waiting for him to complete and join the department. So that took some little time. Meanwhile, PLV also left us. He went back to Usmania University. Only myself and CVS Sharma were there in the department. Thankfully, we had Professor Dasu Krishnamurthy, who recently, 3 days back, he passed away. But he was again, he also not from academics. He was a practicing journalist. So he came and took some classes. I was handling film and television, and Sharma was teaching, theory. But it so happened that because of the equipment, and because I was also passionate about cinema and television, I was talking only about cinema and television. And since CVS was younger to me by many years, he also came under my influence. So he also started talking about cinema. Whenever he came back from a class, I used to ask him, "Kya padha hai sahab aaj?" "मैं एक film बताया साहब बनाने." So suddenly the school was turning into a film school. No wonder if you see the first few batches, many have gone into cinema and television. The classic examples who's sitting here, Sanu John Varghese. He's one of the greatest cameramen in Indian cinema today. We didn't have a cinematography course there, but the equipment was there. They were free to do anything, and then they really learned everything, and then they developed passion for cinema and television. So in the initial batches, Anand Kamlakar is making documentaries. A lot of people went into television, supervising in television channels, but nobody was pursuing PhD after MA because we didn't have a PhD program then. Nobody went to other universities to do PhDs because they all went into industry. And then suddenly, we realized that the kind of school we had envisaged, it was not happening because it was, as I said, it was becoming a very practical oriented cinema school. And I was desperate because I was heading the department then because we were only two. So I was desperate. And then the way Draupadi requested Krishna to come, I was requesting Vinod to come. And then luckily after his completion, he came and joined the department. Then, some sanity came into department. The kind of department we were envisaging, it started happening. And then I'm so happy that later on, Sanjay came, and then Tirmal came. Even Vasuki was in the industry in the initial days. He didn't go to pursue his PhD or anything because, as I told you, the whole environment was different. So as soon as Vinod came, the academic environment came back to our school. And I'm so happy that, after so many years of working in here, he has produced so many. I see every other day some student finishing his PhD, day before yesterday also. So many PhDs have come up. The department has grown so much. Although I'm not in the department, but I still have very, soft corner. In the sense, it is like our baby, although I abandoned it, but still I consider it as my baby. And then I'm sure, although Vinod will be going away from the department, but whenever the department needs him, I'm sure he will drop everything and come back. I wish Vinod wonderful life after this. I know you will enjoy it, but keep coming to SN School because I am also, although I left it 30 years back, almost 30 years back I had left, but whenever there's an occasion, I make it a point to come to SN School. So wish you all the best and enjoy the life. Thank you.
Thank you, Manvi sir. We would love to have you on many more occasions. So Manvi sir keeps coming on our alumni meets, annual alumni meets, when we also have our CVS Sharma Memorial Lectures. It's always nice to have him. Now I request Professor Usha Raman, whom we see as our colleague still, because even though she just about retired in December, we are not used to that idea that she has retired.
Thank you. Thank you, Satya. It feels a little surreal. So unlike Manvi, who just spoke, so comfortably, I'm going to have to read. So to say that the department will never be the same without Vinod is to state the obvious, and to repeat what many have said already. So maybe it's better for me to talk about what it's meant to have Vinod as a colleague and a friend, so as to place on record what it has meant for me personally to have him here. So one thing I do know for certain, I would not have joined this department if Vinod had not been a part of it. It was on the strength of our own long association, one that has crossed professional boundaries, that drew me to the department and kept me coming back. First as a visiting faculty member, and eventually persuaded by Vinod as a permanent member of the department. As Vinod has mentioned, we were both at the journalism department at Osmania University together. He was 2 years my junior, but we knew of each other. I recall reading his bylined articles in the Deccan Chronicle and News Time. And at the time, his byline read P. Vinod, so I didn't really connect to the same Professor Pavarala that I met many years later. So, when we met 2 decades later at Golden Threshold, it was the beginning of a long professional association that grew into a friendship. We discovered over the years many shared histories and connections in the city, and both he and Aparna have become dear friends. Hopefully this will continue even as we both find ourselves outside the university campus. And of course, there's always Sikandrabad Club. I've learned much from watching Vinod at work. Our approaches are very different, and my often impulsive and sometimes hard-driven decisions have been tempered by his more considered, thoughtful, and head-driven approach. I've watched him handle multiple responsibilities in the university and beyond, and in each space he has brought both depth and breadth of understanding. What I've grown to admire most is how he takes time to understand the structures and systems at play, whether it is of education administration or the discipline itself, and engage in an analysis that is at once productive and insightful. As someone who had, until I came here, stubbornly resisted identifying myself with an institution, Vinod demonstrated to me the value of working within and working to strengthen institutions without necessarily being defined by them. I honestly would not have survived the public university without the benefit of his leadership, advice, and support. I remember in 2016, when students were all roiled up all over campus politics, a quiet and open conversation that he initiated with our students on the steps of the yoga center helped ease some of the tensions and offer a little direction, because students were really upset, didn't know what was going on. He's never been afraid to take a stand and speak up and write very eloquent emails to those in power when he encounters administrative stupidity or willful blindness. We've already heard from many students about how their worldviews dramatically changed after encountering paradigm-shifting ideas in his classes. While Vinod and I have not collaborated on research, we've been able to appreciate the complementary spaces that we occupy within the field, often exchanging ideas and discussing questions of broader disciplinary interest. I remember some of the discussions we had as he was writing the chapter on intangible outcomes that was referred to yesterday by Joe and Thomas. Jalna today spoke again of intangibles not just being part of outcomes, but also what we might think of as the secret sauce that makes the difference between hope and its realization. Vinod has been a key ingredient in the secret sauce that makes this department special. Vinod and I did work together on a few UNICEF projects, and I have fond memories of traveling across Karnataka with him and Vasuki and Kanchan to train health education officers or grumbling all the time over the opacity of their bureaucracy while we put together a global training program for them. For 15 years, we've had neighboring offices, and I must say I'm missing the regular chats over chai going cold. But I'm glad his retirement has come after mine. Makes it a little bit easier. So Vinod, I'm sure you have many years of research, writing, and mentoring still ahead of you. And here's wishing you all the best for an exciting new beginning on the other side of town.
Thank you very much, Usha. we definitely were at the department. We were not happy that Professor Vinod is leaving on voluntary retirement after Usha retired. So it's something which we couldn't take immediately. It took some time, but he was very clear. So we had to let him go. But we, as I have said, we will not let him go completely. We'll be in touch with him formally and informally. And next, our other senior professor, Professor Thirumal, he said he'll not be here today, so he spoke yesterday. Now I request our Professor Vasuki, who has worked very closely with Vinod, and as a team, they have done wonders for the department, especially the infrastructure. So without them, we will not have this wonderful infrastructure and equipment. So, Professor Vasuki.
Good afternoon. It's very difficult to speak when you are associated with a person for such a long time and you suddenly realize that is not going to be around in the department. Like Manvi said, I was trained by Manvi. There were only two teachers, Sharma and Manvi, when we joined. And most times we learned television production from under Manvi. And I didn't know the R of research. Because simply, let me put it this way. I didn't know the R of research simply because I didn't want to learn it.
And nobody was there to teach
There
you.
to teach us. So when I joined the department in 2004, Vinod was the dean, I think, at that point, or head. And I joined sometime in December, and he gave me an off up to the next semester. He said, it's okay, you prepare. There are enough, we'll manage the department somehow. And he gave me enough time to prepare for my course or courses. And around the same time, Sanjay left. Or he had left already, and again there was a shortage. Sharma just passed away. And Sanjay went to IIMC, Sharma just passed away. Again, there was a shortage of faculty in the department. And it was at that point of time that Vinod taught me that one should step in to work for the institution when it is necessary. And it has stayed with me ever since. And 3 years quickly passed by. Around the same time, Sixth Pay Commission had been passed, so all readers were quote-unquote converted into associate professors. And the regulation said in 3 years you can become professors. There was a condition. PhD was a condition. And I didn't know the R of research because I was trained by Manvi. I was adamant that I would not do my PhD. I would have endless arguments with Vinod about why I should do my PhD when I came into the university based on my skill training. And he would patiently sit, he and Sanjay would patiently sit with me for, I don't know, hours on end and try and explain to me why a PhD is important, why a PhD is important. It's not just about growth, it is also about your own growth. It's not just about career growth and so on and so forth. When I remained adamant for another 3 years, I think until about 2009 or 10, I remained adamant. I used to have continuous arguments with them. One day, Sanjay and Vinod, both of them ganged up and came and emotionally blackmailed me that if I didn't do my PhD, they would stop talking to me. That was the emotional blackmail. That was difficult. So, yeah, Vinod and Sanjay are responsible for me doing my PhD, which I didn't want to do. Yeah, that took another long time. I think I took about 8 years to complete work on my PhD. Around the fourth year, again, hours on end. When are you going to complete? When are you going to complete? But the 2 3 lessons that Vinod has taught me over the years is that one has to always work for the institution. B, whatever course you are teaching, whatever program you are in, always try and grow in the direction of the courses that you are teaching academically. Okay. Number 3, he instilled a sense of critical thinking in me. When I when I got into the department, the UNESCO chair, he promptly onboarded me onto the chair as a faculty fellow, and being a very good, he had a great sense of identifying talent. So he said, Vasuki, you'll be very good at capacity building. So be part of the chair, and I will never forget that, because the tag UNESCO chair on community media, faculty fellow UNESCO chair and community media, has given me so much. It has made me identifiable, recognizable. People, whether I deserve it or not, people talk to me with a great deal of respect. And I owe that to Vinod. Seriously. Yeah, I mean, my friendship with Vinod has gone from strength to strength, and I think I'll stop here. I don't know if I can continue. Thank you, Satya.
Thank you, Professor Vasaki. Now I request Professor Kanchan to speak.
I'm going to keep it short. Yeah. Okay. I've already spoken earlier about Vinod sir as a mentor, and about how that relationship will continue. What I want to reflect on here is his presence in our lives as a colleague. So if I were to do full justice to Professor Pavarala as a colleague, I would probably have to write a long paper, complete with references, footnotes, in-text citations, and so on. So it'll be very long. Since we don't have the liberty to do that today, I will present what I can only call an abstract. So I have been associated with Vinod sir for 19 years as a colleague, and for 14 years as a faculty fellow with the UNESCO chair on community media that Vasuki also talked about just now. Over these years, there has been so much to learn about how one works, teaches, researches, leads, and carries responsibility. Whether as head, dean, UNESCO chair, or senior colleague, he has always practiced what we all call here the open door policy, which is what we've learned from him. So we would walk into his office at any time. Even when he was busy, he would never give us that look and say, "Can't you see I'm busy?" So he turns around, listens carefully, and offers thoughtful, enabling input that's enough to help us find our way on our own. I mean, a solution to what we are looking for. The most important thing that I've learned from him is integrity and sincerity towards the work we do. No shortcuts. Do the work carefully, think it through well, and do it in a way that you can stand by it. I deeply admire his leadership. He does what is right for the institution with a clear sense of practicality and systematic process, but also with sensitivity. He never ever compromises on professionalism. And most importantly, he carries people along with him rather than leaving anyone behind. So it's always been about collaborative work. I keep trying to internalize these ways of working. If I can be even half or less as good as he is as an academic researcher, teacher, and institution builder, I would be content with my life. It is our real good fortune that we have had him to show us the way. And we are hoping that his presence, guidance, and example will continue to shape how we work together in future too. And I must add that a very big support for us, and she's not going anywhere, she's with us in this university, has been Professor Aparna Raiparol, a co-conspirator in everything that we do. So thank you very much for being there always also.
Thank you, Professor Kanchan. Now I request Dr. Janardhan Rao Chili, our colleague. Yeah.
Respected dignitaries, Professor Satya Prakash Reddy Garu, Head of the Department of Communication, Chief Guest of today's event, Professor Vinod Pavarala Garu, invited speakers of the two-day seminar, dignitaries taking part through video conferencing, my fellow faculty members of the university, staff members, research scholars, students, ladies and gentlemen. A very good afternoon to all of you. My name is Janardhan Rao Chili and I am serving as Associate Professor in the Department of Communication. Today, my heart is filled with immense gratitude and a touch of emotion as I speak about one of the most influential figures in my academic and personal journey, my PhD guide, respected colleague, and above all, a truly exceptional human being, Professor Vinod Pavarala Garu, the Senior Professor of Communication and the esteemed UNESCO Chair on Community Media. Professor Vinod Garu stands out among teachers for his extraordinary empathy and inclusivity. He always believed that true teaching begins with understanding the student, not just their academic level, but also their entire background, whether they come from bustling urban centers or quiet rural villages, from elite corporate schools or humble government institutions, from English medium instruction or regional languages, and even their economic realities, be it middle class comfort or modest means. With this deep sensitivity, he had the rare gift of simplifying the most complex concepts so that every student, regardless of their starting point, could grasp them easily and feel inspired to learn more. I personally benefited enormously from this approach. Coming from a rural background with government schooling in the regional medium, I often felt out of place in those early days. Yet, under his guidance, I never felt judged, only encouraged and empowered. I also cherish the memories of the summer vacation when I was finalizing my PhD thesis. Almost every day, I would visit his home and he would generously set aside his precious family time to review my work, offer insightful suggestions, and guide me patiently. With His warmth extended beyond academics. His gracious wife, Professor Aparna Raiprol Garu, always made me feel like family, warmly including me in their lunch preparations. Those simple, kind gestures remain etched in my heart. Later, I was doubly fortunate to become his colleague in the same department. His gentle mentorship continued to shape me, helping me refine my teaching skills and grow as an educator. Professor Vinod Garu is soft spoken, yet profoundly impactful, approachable to everyone, from the newest student to senior colleagues, always radiating humility, patience, and genuine care. On this special occasion of your well-deserved retirement, sir, thank you for being the guiding light, the patient mentor, and the compassionate teacher who transformed so many lives, including mine. Your legacy in communication for social change, community media, and inclusive education will continue to inspire generations. I wish you good health, happiness, and many fulfilling years ahead, sir. Thank you, sir. I will always remain grateful. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Janardhan. Some of the PhD students used to tell me, and even some of those students who were doing master's thesis used to tell me that they'll get his mails at 5 or 5:30 in the morning. I was like, what? Who is correcting all these drafts early in the morning? So that's Professor Vinod Pavarala. Now we are joined by our registrar, Dr. Devesh Nigam. He has some pressing engagements, so he'll speak for 2 minutes now. I request him to speak.
Warm good evening to all of you. Dean SN School, heads of the Department of School of Communication, Head Department of Communication, faculty members. I am seeing many retired faculty members also, teachers, students, ladies and gentlemen. It is very difficult for me to say about Professor Vinod Pavarala. I have worked closely with him. He has been my well-wisher. I don't have to say anything more. And as I am already in mid of 11th and 12th meeting, one meeting is over and next meeting to start, so I am not in a frame of speaking much. But in my own traditional way, I will summarize as I see Professor Vinod Pavarala. आज इस महफिल में ये महफिल उनकी साखी उनका, महफिल उनकी साखी उनका, बस आंखें अपनी बाकी उनका. Second, I would like to say, in our lives, personal and professional, कुछ लोग पास रह के भी याद नहीं आते, कुछ लोग पास रह के भी याद नहीं आते, और कुछ लोग दूर रहकर भी भुलाए नहीं जाते. So Professor Vinod Pavarala was one of them. Finally, I wish him all the best. आप स्वस्थ रहें, मस्त रहें, व्यस्त रहें और अपने परिवार के साथ रहें. बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. थैंक यू.
Thank you, Dr. Nigam. That was quite short and sweet. Now, I request Now I request our youngest faculty member in the department, uh, Ms. Anjali Lal Gupta, to speak a few words.
That's okay. I can manage. I hope I'm audible. So I'm going to repeat some of the things that Satya and Kanchan have already said, but this bears repetition, so I will. Let me start by saying that I'm not happy with Professor Pavarala leaving the university and our department so soon. To lose to retirement in quick succession two senior professors, first Dr. Raman and now you, Professor Pavarala, will be difficult to handle. I have always found Professor Pavarala's attention to detail and the precision with which he chooses his words, both while teaching and in his administrative communication, so impressive and inspiring. And I have a funny anecdote to share. I was attending one of his communication theory classes, and this was right after the US elections where Hillary Clinton had lost. And we were discussing possible research problems to explore. And I remember saying, he was talking about voting patterns, and I said, it seems old men do not vote for women. And he had said, that may be true, but you can't set your research to conclude like that. It can't be the starting point. So that was a great learning that day, and the precision, the honesty that goes into academic work, that was a great example that day. Not just that, not just this attention to detail, but also the way he thinks, the way he deliberates on the bigger picture and the larger well-being of the department and the university is also something to learn from. The expanse and depth of his knowledge and expertise, not only in community media, but also in the fields of media, democracy, academic administration, education, politics, and many more, are truly outstanding. The word polymath comes to mind. That is a word I've used to describe Dr. Raman too in the past. And even as he's so senior and so learned, I've never seen him stand on ceremony. He's not only good at sharing his own experience and learning, he's also ever ready to listen to new ideas and views from those who came to the department much after him. In fact, our department has a very democratic ethos where colleagues can freely exchange their ideas and outlook, and that is to the credit of Professor Pavarala and other senior faculty members of our department. One could presume a senior professor like him would perhaps be a matter-of-fact, very hard-nosed academic. But I've seen Professor Pavarala getting emotional on occasion. I saw him being totally authentic and vulnerable when our department lost our dear Dr. Kennedy to COVID. He also expressed his sentiments at Dr. Raman's retirement. These are only two occasions I recall. I find this ability to embrace one's emotions with such authenticity such a valuable trait. Finally, I have an interesting and endearing observation. I have noticed that he is a news junkie with a great capacity to consume news and useful information. That reminds me of my late father. Thank you so much, Professor Pavarala, for leading by example, and wish you all the best.
Thank you, Anjali. With this, our faculty speaking has come to an end. Now, I request our SN School colleagues, maybe if you want, we can go department by department. Sorry? Can? Yeah. So, Professor Bitshu, do you want to speak? Go first? Yeah. Vaski, chair. So Professor N.J. Bitshu, Theatre Arts, he has retired recently.
I would like to thank Mr. Satya. This is a wonderful occasion where I want to explore the nostalgic ideas and the nostalgic experiences that we had at GT. GT is popular as it is GT. It is golden threshold. We were all very enthusiastic, enterprising academicians, would to be academicians in those days. I joined the department when Professor Manvi sir was telling. It was started in 1988, and I joined as a student. Though I was offered a placement to teach the students of theatre, but I denied it with a kind of attitude of learning, entering into the academic approaches behind the professionalistic theatre. Because I was in professionalistic theatre experience, I had experience, and also some teaching experiences in other private film institutes and conducting a lot of workshops in theatre. But I had some inclination about there is more chance to develop a kind of an academic approach in performing arts. That was the time where there were no universities and there were no departments. There were only 2 universities who started Department of Performing Arts and Communication. It is in Pondicherry and in University of Hyderabad, which started in Golden Threshold. Once I entered as a student, it was a wonderful, I don't want to say, a kind of romantic kind of a languages, but it is the aura was wonderful. The aura of the department, the Golden Threshold, the house, the Sarojini Naidu school, by name itself is a glamorous kind of a situation, and a lot of poetic experiences were there. Whenever 2 people interacting with themselves, there was always poetry. Maybe it is a cutting jokes. It's all poetic. By the onlookers or the passers-by, they will find it's crazy that why are there any serious academicians or professionals? Are they serious about it, or they are cutting jokes? Or once they deeply into the conversation, they will find out the poetry in that. That was the beauty of the atmosphere, the people around, the students. It was more glamorous. It developed as more glamorous and glitter when Manvi was heading the department. Professor Manvi, I know him when he was in Doordarshan. We were doing dramas in Upagraha Doordarshan, and he was there. Lakshma Gaud was there, and same kind of people. In Telugu ఒకటి ఉంది, ఒక సామెత తెలుగులో చెప్తాను, ఎవరైనా ట్రాన్స్లేట్ చేయండి. నత్తగుల్లలన్నీ ఒక దగ్గర చేరుతాయి, ముత్యాలన్నీ ఒక దగ్గర చేరుతాయి. ముత్యాలు అదొకటి ఉంది. So when I went to Upagraha Doordarshan, there was Manvi and Lakshma Gaud. When I entered into GT, again there is Manvi and Lakshma Gaud. So this is a kind of, we will make our own way to enter into our convenient place and comfortable place. And so it all happened. Now coming to the point of my beloved colleague, Mr. Vinod Pavarala. Vinod Pavarala is a couple of, he is also a product of GT, long back. You are a couple of GT. Both of you are a couple of GT. I am also a couple of GT. So we have a common point in that. We have a common element to me and you and me. That is my personal kind of, we have some emotional attachment in that. Next, once we entered into the GT, we had a payment kind of a small, bench kind of a thing. It's a payment kind of a thing, platform. So we used to discuss there, sitting there and discuss. We used to cut jokes on the satires on the political systems, political strategies, economical situations, so many things. Other people were laughing, but our pure academic man like Vinod, he enters into that and he detaches it from the comic kind of a situation, but brings it to the academic inclination, gives the academic flavor. Though it is a simple joke, it gives him it brings out with a academic flavor, with more methodological establishment. So he is a sincere, serious, professional academician and researcher. So that gave more, weight to the department. We had, me and Vasuke had a common kind of a thing that we are professionals. We don't have any inclination towards research, writing all these things. We don't have that. We have a professionalistic approach in performances, seeing the space, how to develop the space, how to improvise with the space we have. That is from theatre. That is our attitude. Same kind of attitude Vasik was also having. So that's why I also had to spend 7 long years to bring out my PhD. So this is all in academic institute, like where you had balance of professionalism and also research attitudes combining together. The students are more benefited with this kind of approach, and I congratulate Professor Vinod Pavarala for establishing his precise, very systematic academic approach, initiating academic nourishment to the students, and we were all fortunate to have his guidance and in their articles and other things. I think you will not forget the SN school. You should not, as I am also not forgetting. It is our hometown and home institute. Thank you. So from the Department of Theatre.
Thank you, Professor Bidshu. I'll take a slight detour. We have a student, master's student from Canada waiting online. That's Meghna Haldar, a documentary filmmaker and playwright. So she completed her master's in 1995. She was 1 year senior to me. So Meghna, can you hear me?
I think I can, yes.
The floor is yours.
Thank you, thank you. I just want to say that I think I joined in 1995. And so Satya, I think you were 1996. If I'm
Yeah, I
not
graduated in 1998. You graduated in 97.
Thank you. That makes me feel terribly old. So I wanted to say thank you to Kanchan and her co-hosts for inviting me. It's the middle of my night. It's 4 a.m., so you'll forgive me if I'm reading, because I feel like I'm not entirely and fully articulate, but I didn't want to miss this opportunity. I did want to say a few words in honor of Vinod, because after all these years, there are some things that have remained. See, I'm so emotional, that have remained so important to people like me and others around the world. Like other people, I will kind of talk a bit about my history and how far we go back. So I met him 30 years ago, around August 1995. I was part of the new MA cohort, and he just joined as a reader in the Department of Communication. Most of us, and there were many women in my class, in my cohort, we were very young and we were naive, and many of us came from really sheltered and privileged backgrounds. So for many of us, it was the first time we'd actually stepped away from our homes and from the influence of our families. Everything felt shocking in those early days. There was a sexual assault very shortly after we'd arrived. And so we were kind of startled by what we were witnessing and where we were. It felt unsafe and it felt radical, but we didn't quite know how we would navigate the next few years. Some of us actually thought of running away. And then came Vinod into this mix, into this like turmoil. And I believe after 30 years that despite the many shocks of summer 1995, I think the most lasting shock was Vinod and his talk of the dominant paradigm. So, because he's subversive in his own quiet, dry way, and so deeply subversive, while teaching us development communication, he was giving us a framework to understand the world and to understand our own privilege and all our relations. All our relations is a word that is used by the indigenous community over here to talk about the world, not just about human beings, but nature and their relationships with nature and the natural world. So Vinod gave us a sense of that, our place in the world and all our relations. He was not telling us what to think, but how to think. He was changing the moral arc of our universe, bending it slowly towards ideas of equity and justice. When you're young and your ideas and your very being are so amorphous, Vinod gave many of my ideas meaning when I was very young. And in doing so, he fundamentally shaped my being. I don't think I'm alone in saying this. Today, I'm not just an MA student, thank God. I'm a playwright, teacher, filmmaker. I work with the federal government of Canada in national film financing and film policy. I have led the Canadian team nationally on working with Black and people of color across the country. I develop projects and I teach young film professionals around Canada. I'm a known disruptor in Vancouver, whether it is the foster care system or provincial broadcasting system. I kick up good shit everywhere I go. This disruption has always been based on impeccable research. I out-research my opponents or whatever system I want to bring down. And it is based on an articulation of principles that I learned in Hyderabad more than 30 years ago. As Kanchan said, Vinod taught us integrity and how to collaborate, how to stand up and retain one's humanity in the midst of everything. As a Canadian, in today's world, that is the most vital resource one has. He taught us how to survive, integrity intact. Over these last 2 decades, I have returned to the department and to Vinod time and again, seeking his mentorship and guidance on various projects, including my participatory tribal film project in eastern Madhya Pradesh. The film remains incomplete. I have to quit being a bureaucrat and return to being a filmmaker at some point. I don't know when that's going to be. But no matter how crazy the idea, I have always reached out to Vinod, and he has always had my back. I'm not sure words can express gratitude to teachers like Vinod. One can only express it through actions and by paying it forward through our lifetimes. That is what I intend to do, that is what I have done, and that is what I'll continue doing for the rest of my life. Vinod, I wish you and Aparna, who I see there, my very best. Thank you again for everyone for this privilege to share a few thoughts. I wish I could stay with you all, but like 30 years ago, after all this talk and being surrounded by so many academics, I have to go to sleep. Good night.
Thank you, Meghna. I mean, at least I was expecting to see you yesterday. I'm glad to see you today. And thanks a lot for all those generous words. Yeah. Thank you.
I hope to see you in person soon.
Yes, when I come, I'll come. Thank you so much. Good night.
Thank you, Meghna. Uh, Before I go back to SN School faculty, there is a quick request from Mr. Panikar in our library. He has some things to do. Mr. Panikar.
Well, good evening to all of you. Let me give my introduction first. I work in the IGM library, so I'm not from this department. So, good evening, and so I know Vinod and Aparna. I joined in the 1984. First, my appointment was in GT library. So I know Aparna and Vinod, they joined as a MA postgraduate student. From that day onward, I know them. But from that day to till today, I never had occasion to meet them personally. I never met them. Only sometime back on phone or email, he asked me for about the anti-plagiarism, etc. Because I take care of the computer section in the library. So I'm heading the computer section. So Aparna is there, and Vinod. It is a really relationship. Is the day they had joined for PG, and now today Vinod is retiring from 84 to 2026. Today only I'm meeting him. So yeah, recently we met in Botanical Garden. So so, but it's quite a very long time. Well, today we have gathered to mark superannuation of Professor Vinod, a teacher whose service and dedication have greatly enriched this institution. Throughout his career, he has not only imparted knowledge but also inspired discipline, curiosity, and strong value among students. Professor Vinod has been supportive and dependable, and as a teacher, he has left a lasting impact, a generation of learners. His commitment to academic excellence and integrity will always be remembered. Though today marks his retirement from active service, the influence of a true teacher never ends. We thank Professor Vinod for his invaluable contribution and wish him good health, happiness, and fulfillment of new chapter in his life. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Panikar. I'm thinking of going with SN School faculty and then move on to faculty members from other departments. If anybody has a pressing assignment, please let me know so that I can put you. No. Can we start with the dance department? Professor Anuradha.
My first impression and meeting when I first met Professor Vinod was that he was one of the few sane members in the school of Sarojini Naidu School among so many mad people. We had big wigs. We had Lakshmas, Nataraja, Ramakrishnas, and so many people, and Arudra Garu, and such people who had high egos. And we were all students, and then students being students of them, we were very frightened of them also. And then when I joined as a lecturer, I was wanting to talk to somebody who can understand, who can be of at least a few years elder to me. So fortunately, the common courts came in, and then we already had our Manvi sir was there. Like, I'm not trying to mentor us, and then Professor Vinod came in, and we had common course. And I vividly remember how we worked out the segments of the common course. He actually took the lead and said that let us put all these together. And this is a very, if you see, this is a very interesting school. A communication department, you see, nowhere in the world is with arts. But here they have to negotiate with artists and arts. That was the big challenge for communication department. And we were looking up to them to get a strong grounding, academic grounding for our arts, which were otherwise more on the performance level. So that's where I suppose that we had some kind of a mentoring from them, I would say. And when we had these courses, especially working out on the common course was a big benefit for me personally, because how to put together these things, how do we discuss? And one after the other, like, 4 of us got together, one from theater, one from dance, communication, Vinod was leading, and then fine arts. And we came together and somehow sailed through that course. And I'm sure Matthew is here. I don't know what kind of feedback we would have. I won't ask for it. But somehow we sailed through that common course for a few years. Of course, after that we could not continue. So Vinod, actually, for that matter, after that I came to also know that he's my teacher's son. Then my admiration grew much more, a step ahead. Then said my teacher's son is here. So besides this kind of academic inputs that came in, and of course after that, how he led the school was very interesting for me, because he became the dean of the school. For 2 consecutive terms, he was the dean of the school. We were away from here for a very long time in the initial years, and most of us, especially the senior professors, resisted shifting this particular school from GT to here. And one major person was Professor Lakshma Gaud. He said, I will not move from here. Then the Vice Chancellor convened a meeting, Professor, I think it was who was the Vice Chancellor? Before Ramarao Garu. He convened a meeting asking us to come there. And then he said, no, I will not go. He was the dean of the school then. So we were like, we were actually shivering, because the anger and the emotions of our Lakshma Gaud are, people know about it. I don't need to say. So we were young. We were not wanting to do, we have to do something. Either we have to shift from there or, face the ire of the university. And it was in the good, I think, some of us were also not very skeptic about it, because we were thinking that the people will not come for our courses if we shift from there to this campus and things like that. I think that was the time that Vinod and a few of them have played a very, very important role. Though initially we said, no, they have some interest in shifting us from GT to this campus and things like that. But we realized that there is a kind of a vision with which it has been integrated into the main campus. I think the school has grown much after it has come to this particular campus. And I see that, Vinod has played a very important role, besides the others, in trying to put some kind of a sense and say that, no, it's better that we go there. And the first thing was saying that we will remain here for a few years and go back to GT. We were wanting those nice, cozy kind of environment of GT and, that golden threshold. But once we are here, we, in fact, we did not go back. Not that it was voluntary, it was forced upon us, but then I started realizing, personally started realizing that it was a good move that we have come here. Besides that, during his tenure, the kind of growth that the school has achieved is marvelous. The highest of the funding that we got during his tenure, because he went and argued for us. He went and made case for us, not just argument. It's a made case for us, and tried to see that each and every department gets its due and also grows on its own. So he never tried to only limit himself to the communication. No. As a great communicator, he made inroads and, he knows several dancers, several theater people, several musicians, and he made whenever he met a person, he made a very meaningful conversation with them. I suppose it goes, his reading and his preparation for this probably is one thing, and the kind of interest that he evinces in trying to solve a problem and also understand the others. No, because we have very peculiar problems as artists and when productions come in and things like that. But he made an effort to do that and gave us a lot of support. That way, I suppose, it goes to the credit of Vinod and his tenure that this particular school has really grown well. And also, I think, then during that time only, we have had people like Sham and things like the professors like that who would say, you will never understand what fine arts is. All these things were happening, but he took everything very coolly and then tried to see to it that the best things come and best happens to each of us as faculty members in this school. Thanks, Vinod, for all that. In fact, I every time look up, because he's very meticulous, puts down things. And yesterday when I was here for some time and I was hearing to his students speaking, and what better can happen to a teacher? Because yesterday I was very happy the way the students were speaking about him. I was just thinking, once we retire, I suppose this is the greatest of the gifts that one can get as a teacher. And one of the students yesterday was mentioning that it is lost to the university, this SN school. And I personally feel that this is a real loss for all of us, because we have if we want to speak to somebody who is level-headed in this and also find some kind of a solution for certain things, certain problems, because he's in all the committees. And if there is a committee, we would say, let Vinod be the chair. So if we are, even now he's a chair of a committee, and when he's going back, he's submitting a report and then going. So we had that confidence in him.
He says it's finished.
So we had that confidence in him, and we continue to have that. It's a loss to the school and the university, because he's been on the many university committees and made a very his recommendations are still valued they are once and again referred to in the academic council, and we do go back and talk about them. So, but I'm sure that he's going to really give a lot to the university that he's going into. I wish him good health and a very exciting starting in the new space that he's going to be. We would miss you. We will continue to miss you, Professor Vinod. But definitely, I'm sure that you will be available to us whenever we need you. We look forward for your guidance in future too. And thank you for whatever you have been to the school and me personally. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Anuradha. Now I request Professor Aruna Bichu from Dance to speak. I request all the speakers from now on to try and limit for a duration of 2 to 3 minutes. I know it's unfair, and that's the only way we can complete the program today. Professor Aruna, 2 minutes, please.
Thank you, Professor Satya. Yeah, as a research scholar in Golden Threshold, I've seen Professor Vinod, the tall man in communication department, and not really was courageous enough to go and say hello to him. But it so happened that mine happened to be the first open viva of the university and lesson school. It's then I saw Vinod in the audience. Oh, this is how the open viva happens. Then when I walked out, he started his interaction with me and asked how did I choose my interdisciplinary subject for PhD. And it was so surprising to me to see a communication faculty showing so much of interest in dance and trying to know things. That was the first ever interaction that he had had with me, and gave me the courage to go and speak to him openly about my ideas, my projects, my works. The best part in Professor Vinod is whether you are in Essence School or out of the campus, once he knows that you are part of Essence School fraternity or the university, wherever you are, his reading and his updating of information is so great that you need not invite him for your own event, but he is still aware of into which kind of collaboration you are into and where was your last performance. So the next time you meet him, he will ask you, you were associated with this particular project. So what was it exactly? This is what happened with me. I have been a freelancer for quite some time, and I remember meeting Vinod in Mangalore airport when I was coming back from a conference, and he was waiting for his flight and I was waiting for mine. During that waiting period, he made me speak all that I was doing in my career. And he would share this information with others and say, see, this is what is happening in the field of dance with our alumni. Such kind of interaction was always welcomed by him, and I'm honored and I'm very glad to share this. I joined the university when he was the dean. So I take this opportunity to thank him. And ever since we have joined, as Professor Anuradha rightly put it, when we look around and see whom to approach, and his approachability is so easy, whether he was in biggest committees or the dean for 2 terms, the approachability is what made the students or the co-faculty get a strong bonding with him. And my association with SIP, and thanks to Professor Aparna, he was there for all the cultural events of SIP and had seen my work for about 20 years. And then see the work which I do cut across the classical domain, and he used to ask me, what is your next production? When he was the chair of the NAC committee, and he put up a cultural show during the NAC committee visit and said that please present this work on, I did a theatrical dance theater presentation on campus life. So he said, this has to be presented. He remembers which work you have presented. He has a very critical eye. At the same time, that feedback that from him was very valuable, and he would guide us what kind of collaborations we should be looking for and what kind of interdisciplinarity that is has to be nurtured in Essence School. So, as Meghna and Professor Kanchan rightly said, it's integrity that it's my carry point from him, and he is very determined about certain things, rules, regulations, or academics, but the way he presents it is not adamantly or not rashly. He has always been determined and clear, and his articulation is so very smooth and comes very clearly where everything is communicated, and which makes you think twice and thrice. Thank you personally, Vinod, for being there always. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Aruna. Is Dr. Rajiv Velichetti around? Please, Rajiv.
Hello, everyone. Around the time I joined the Essence School in theatre department, Vinod was the dean, so he used to do many of these presentations to different committees, delegations, and everything. And there used to be a standard line with which he used to start. That is, Essence School is envisaged as a unitary school of fine arts, performing arts, and communications. Right? So, I feel that, because, as a dean, Vinod actually embodied that unitary spirit of the school. So he was not just a professor of communication, but, as a dean, he was involved in all the departments, like Aruna ji was saying. So he was a kind of mentor for all of us in terms of learning how to, especially when we joined here, like again from the practitioner background, getting into an academic situation, training us how to deal with the system in terms of like how to submit your proposals or how to submit your bills, and all kinds of queries and all the problems that one would face from the accounts department or all the other departments. So that was one of the major contributions that we had, having in a way, he was the last dean of the unitary school, so to speak, because during his tenure, we got separated as departments. Earlier, we used to be only disciplines. There was no head of department. We used to have coordinators and only dean. But that growth, which actually sometimes we feel bad about it because of the separation it brought in, and the compartmentalization that happened as a result of it. But it was inevitable as the way, because of the way the departments are growing, you can have no more hold that nice golden threshold kind of unitary simplicity. So that is one thing that we are grateful to Professor Pavarala. Of course, we all know that it will be the good fortune of another institution who is going to benefit from his expertise, and he is going to build a department there. So that is a great thing. But the only thing that we are sad about is that, when somehow we are running out of reasons to convince people to stay back in public institutions. That is a tragedy that I think we are all facing. But we celebrate the contribution that Vinod has done to our school and to us personally, to each and every one of us personally. And we wish him all the best.
Thank you, Professor Rajiv. Now, I request our colleagues from Fine Arts to take the opportunity and speak. LNV Srinivas.
Good evening, everyone. As my colleagues spoke about Professor Vinod, it's really privilege to be here as a kind of colleague to him, to Professor Vinod Pavarala. Although I have had a limited interaction with him over the past 16 years of my involvement with this institution, I can say that whenever I enter this school, I always feel proud to be part of this community because we are guided by great personalities like Professor Vinod Pavarala, who act as a visionary force for this school. I felt a sense of pride when I left this school in 1993 as a fine art student, having studied under Professor Lashma Gaud and D.L.N. Reddy, who are founder members of this institution and greatly influenced my generation of artists. Later, when I rejoined this school as part of the teaching staff, I experienced the same pride upon seeing Professor Vinod as the school dean. He acted as a role model for me, inspiring confidence in pursuing a teaching career through his leadership as dean, his administrative skills, and his ability to foster good relationship with colleagues. I genuinely admire his personality. Sir, you have inspired me with your convictions and dedication to your teaching responsibilities. Thank you for your ongoing support of this school and the Fine Arts Department. Sir, we have felt so comfortable with your presence over these years because whenever a critical situation arose, we knew we could seek a refuge under your guidance. Now we will miss that. We are missing an art lover and a passionate teacher in everyday encounters. But we all know that whenever there is a cultural event in the city, we can catch a glimpse of you and Aparna ji. I wish to sincerely thank you on behalf of the Department of Fine Arts for your valuable contribution to this institution. You have dedicated years to inspiring us through your commitment to teaching and have encouraged each of us to become a better educator. We are all enriched by the honor of working along with you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Srinivas. Would you be fine if I move on to other faculty in the university, or would somebody else from Fine Arts like to speak? Tanmay Santra.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Professor Satya Prakash, for giving me this opportunity. Distinguished guests, colleagues, students, and friends. If I recall the day I met Professor Vinod Pavarala for the first time, I would go back to the day of my interview at this university around the end of 2006. That was my first visit to this university, as well as coming to South India. I was initially a bit doubtful about what situation I have to face there, but Vinod sir's presence and generosity made me feel at home even in the interview board. I was doing PowerPoint presentation perhaps for the first time, but Vinod sir made me feel very comfortable and helping in every possible way. Even during the initial days or month, whenever I met him anywhere, I found him very welcoming. With his natural smile, he would ask how I am doing. Having a senior colleague like him has been a privilege for me, whose presence and interactions reflect courtesy, warmth, professionalism, and courage. Now, when he is retiring, I am thinking, never did I approach him to ask if there is any suggestions that he can facilitate for me, or never did I introduce my artistic practice to him to know his views. But yes, I believe getting to know him as an extraordinary senior educator and administrator have been rewarding and inspiring to me. I wish him very successful, healthy, peaceful days and years ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Tanmay. Now we'll move on to other colleagues in the university. And now I request Professor Shivkumar, retired professor from biochemistry. and he was also director of Office of International Affairs.
Good evening, everybody, and thank you very much for this invitation here. My first official encounter with Professor Vinod was in 2009, when he was the Director of International Affairs, and we started the first international research training group with University of Münster in Germany. And despite he was not well at that time, I remember he came with a plaster of Paris to his hand. And he still came to the inaugural session of that workshop which we organized in the chemistry school. Subsequently, we had several interactive meetings, and we were part of the task force committee when it was formulated during the COVID. That was when I was much more closely associated with him. And it was really a tough job for us to take through and sail through the entire COVID period. And I also learned a lot of things with him. And when I was the Director of International Affairs, I used to always notice that whenever there is a provision or there is a call for applications for the faculty to get international collaboration, I always saw that his application was there. For any program, for example, the Spark program, which we forwarded and he got through, then the DO program, where he was successful, and for several MOUs with the UK universities also he was very successful. And lastly, in our European Union project, which we successfully completed, which is about capacity building, called as Harmony Project, he was also a co-investigator. And it was a privilege to be associated in this program. And we heard that the project was given a good grade, which is very difficult to get through by the European Commission when it was concluded in 2021. So he's moving to a different university now, and I'm sure they will benefit from his association there, and he will also build up an excellent school of communications, both in research and teaching there. And I wish him all the best in his academic tenure at Mahindra University. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Shivkumar. Now I call upon Professor Shaji from Department of Political Science.
Thank you, Professor Satya. Good evening to all. My association with the Sir is not something like what you all have in the department. I knew of Professor Pavarala when I was a student in the university, but I did not have much acquaintance with him, partially because the SN school was in GT and we were on campus. But I used to hear a lot about Professor Pavarala because he was a superstar teacher on campus. A lot of students from SN school used to come and tell us about Professor Pavarala. And later on, I came to know about Professor Pavarala through our closest friend, Professor Kanchan Malik. We invariably share notes about campus, and she talks about the department and new initiatives, new academic programs, and we also talk about us. And then I realized that Professor Pavarala is on the center stage as far as the department is concerned because of the involvements and the contributions that he has made to the department. Then I started meeting him as part of many committees on internationalization. We started working together in SIP, Office of International Affairs, other university level committees on internationalization. I was always amazed at the ideas and the knowledge he has on internationalization. He is the strongest votary of internationalization of higher education. He has cutting-edge ideas on internationalization, partially because of his own travel, because of his own interest in meeting people and seeing the finest templates on internationalization. And my relationship with him got strengthened over a period of time, especially when I started working with him on a project. Professor Shivkumar is also there. He was the lead for us, and on a EU project on, capacity building on higher education. And, from the very first day onwards, Professor Pavarala was supporting me like anything. He actually made a point in one of the meetings that Dr. Shaji should be the key person, because as a young person, or a relatively young person, I should be exposed to these ideas, and he should be part of all the travel visits, so that someone would be, covering all aspects of internationalization as part of this. That will be beneficial for the university and definitely for me also. So then I learned that he has tremendous interest in developing the capacity of faculty members, wanted to mentor them so that they can take up something substantive in the future. And we traveled together. I think once we traveled together, it was a very interesting kind of travel in COVID times to one of the most exotic places on the planet Earth. I would say Varna on Black Sea coast in Bulgaria. And we had a sir, of course, whenever I meet, he asked me something about international relations, because that's a subject I teach. So he would definitely ask me something, and then he would tell me his perspective. So 5 days or 6 days we were together in Varna. We used to talk a lot about international issues, because at that time on Black Sea, the war was going on. Ukraine and Russia was going on. And we had a very hilarious experience. Myself, Aparna ma'am, and Vinod sir were having lunch in a city center and eating a doner. Suddenly a seagull came and snatched his doner and flew away. And I was stunned. And then sir was making a very interesting comment. I don't know whether sir is remembering it now. That seagull must be the ghost of Putin, perhaps, because Ukraine was just, invaded by Russia. And I was like, it was a hilarious moment. I didn't know whether to cry or because daughter is gone. At the same time, that was the point, because of the location. So he connects with, that particular space and the issues which was going on. So, I mean, many such, conversations, sir, I would always cherish. And I really... and of course, the department is, and of course, the whole university is going to miss his service. But I'm sure somebody will be greatly benefited out of his future engagements and the contributions. I wish you all the best, and we'll continue our conversations. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Shaji. Now I call upon Professor Nagamalika, one of early PhDs from our department and currently first PhD in our department, and Professor of Communication in English and Foreign Languages University.
Yeah, the department knows me as the first PhD from the department. That's how I'm usually referred to. But I'm very proud to say that I'm an alumni. So the person who joined first, we were actually 5. In fact, I joined before him. Okay, I registered in 1994 and he came in 1995. I still remember that. So actually, he came at a very crucial time for me because, in a way, it is very sad that from the 5 of us, from the first batch of PhD students, I'm the only one who's still here from the department, completed it, and the 2 of them passed away, CVS and Balaswamy. Sanjay Asthana left midway, and of course, he's doing very well somewhere else. And I forgot another person who was in Doordarshan, who quit within 6 months. So of the 5 of us, I'm the only one. But at that point in time, we were all in golden threshold. And that is when I think my supervisor already shifted in a year to Osmania University, which was at the other end of the city. Because at that time, Professor P.L. Vishweshwara was the head and dean, and I registered under him, all of us, in fact. He hadn't yet joined. And then I took on a very ambitious methodology and a topic at that time. 30 years ago, discourse analysis was unheard of. Nobody knew in the communication department what it was, and I was trying to grapple with what it is, and we did not have access to internet, so I was going all over the place. And then Vinod joined, and he was like my savior. I don't know if he remembers or not, but he provided me with what it is in terms of communication, the basic information. He gave me books, and I still have that copy of the book with me. And he was the first one who kind of put me onto the path of how I should go about doing my discourse analysis. And he spoke about grounded theory. These were all terms which no one knew about then. The latest, I think the most we knew was content analysis in communication. But he came with a sociology background. He just came from abroad, and he was full of, he was there. And I just clung on to him. I knew he was not my supervisor, but he never showed me that. And of course, you only had Manvi sir, who was there otherwise, and CVS, who was doing along with me. And he was even worse than me because he was doing part-time and he knew nothing. So it was like, but it was fun. And we all had, of course, Sanjay was there, Asthana, for a while with us. So we all used to gather, and Vinod used to join us. And we had so much of all these conversations. I think Matthew, who's here, Matthew was also there. So with him and CVS and all of us, they used to talk about all these names, which was new at that time to me, and sociologists and psychologists, and we had all these communication specialists. And it was learning time for me personally, because just hearing to all of them, listening to all their conversations and arguments, it was, I learned a lot, although not directly. So I don't call him my teacher, but he was my mentor. And it's thanks to him that even today I advise my students how to write the methodology chapter, because he was the one who told what should be done and what should not be done, how it should be written. So it was a very big learning experience for me, and I hold him totally responsible for that. So in spite of my bad throat, I had to come today to thank you. And later also, he encouraged me to come back because I was away in Manipal. He gave me, he was the one because of which I came back to teach part-time in the department. And it was my career, I think I owe a lot to Vinod. Thank you for being there. And I know people are waiting to talk, so I don't want to take more of the time. All the best in your new career.
Thank you, Professor Nagamalika. I see another colleague from IFLU here. Srinivas, you would like to speak? Request all the speakers to maintain a 2-minute thing. And I'm assuming he'll be the last faculty, and then with your permission, I'll go on to PhD students and former students who are here. Unless you flag me that somebody else is there, I'll do that. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Professor Satya and Professor Kanchan. So I'm an alumni of the communication department, and 98 to 2000 batch. So I came from Nizamabad district and Telugu medium background. Once when I joined in the communication department, so no idea about the university and especially the central university education system and semester system and cope up with the culture. And especially I also thank on this occasion my classmates across the sections. They have helped me a lot for cope up in the department. And Professor Vinod sir, the class, and especially the development communication, and as part of development communication, development diary, and now I am also the teacher at FLU. I still follow the development diary in my class to my students, and that seriously gave the thought brainstorming sessions, discussions in the classroom, because the many issues, developmental issues, what is development and what are the developmental issues, and it has given a different diverse perspective in the classroom. And then a development tour to Deccan Development Society, and with that the addition to the tour, then we have done an internship. Then it is his reference I joined in the DDS as a media coordinator, which was my first professional career. And without his support, so I could not enter into the professional world. But I entered with the DDS, then I to Ma TV and HMTV. Then even they flew in 2008. There was a huge discussion about, because this English and Foreign Languages University, the new, from institute to it has turned as a university. Then the many people applied for the position, and they are all having English literature background. And I was the only one from the media background and coming from the communication department. And experts were Professor Vinod and Professor PLV. It was almost a battle inside in the panel. So they discussed, no, he doesn't have English. English is very poor, and we don't select him. And it was the panel seriously emphasized this department is for the media and communication, and he is the one who only is having 8 years industry experience with from development communication to media industry, television, and he also produced the documentary films, and he is the only one deserved. And for when it comes to English, yes, you give him 6 months time, seriously will overcome. Definitely will put a mark in the department. So that gave me the confidence and building my own capacity. And I joined in the department. And seriously, documentary film making is my flagship program in the department. And yeah, seriously, once you get your own means exposure, identity, obviously you will also get return gifts. So I received return gifts, but my guru, the Professor Vinod Pavarala, who is been means almost from 2002 till the 3 months before October 10th, I have launched my book entitled Media Capital, which was my PhD work, the political economy of television of 24/7 in Telugu states. And it is my pleasure and privilege, my guru, my professor, who chaired the session of book launch and the discussion program on HCU campus. And what I mean to say that this integrity and fraternity. So I learned a lot from my guru, and I thank a lot on this occasion because I could remember my grandfather who was a mason who built houses brick by brick. Then my guru who built the persons brick by brick and building the society, the capacity building each and every the person which lead the social transformation, which will also lead the economic emancipation. I see really after reading, after theory and practice and ideology, and I could see Mahatma Jyotirao Phule and Savitri Bai Phule, because who built this weapon, the education as emancipation, and this weapon to all, access to all. Coming from my background, seriously he mentored, he gave guidance, and he seriously gave, whenever I am in a dire condition, he used to give the confidence, building confidence. And that gave me very, you take the decisions, and it was very, I learned a lot from the sir. And on this occasion, even the globalization, whatever we used to discuss, liberalization, privatization, yes, now the Sarkari universities, they're dismantling the system. But now the private education system, private universities are growing. Yeah. So 1 minute. So now it is also need to spread, means the seeds, sow the seeds in the across the education institutions. I congratulate Professor Vinod Pavarala sir and for his future endeavors and enter into the Mahendra University. Thank you so much for giving this opportunity. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Srinivas. Now, because participants in Spark seminar had already got a chance, I'm moving to PhD students and alumni. I hope it's okay with you. So now our PhD and MA alumnus Subbarao, Dr. Subbarao from NIN has some other engagement, so I'll let him finish first.
I already said what I have to say in the video, but this is an advantage of having your friend as a professor and have the head of the department. He invites you first. But I thought he would help me jump the line much earlier. He didn't do that. He's still stuck to the integrity that the department actually nurtures. Thank you very much for this. And then I had to come here and I had to be here. Yesterday also I wanted to be here, but for other professional commitment, I couldn't be here. And thank you, sir, for being with us. You know, these many people, I'm really flabbergasted to see. I've attended several retirement functions. I've seen people come and speak and say hello and nice things and then go away. But I have not seen so many people coming from far and wide and sitting for hours to speak a word about you. That shows who you are and what you are. And you are a great institution builder. And we are the OG GT batches. You know, we still want to call Essence School GT. We don't want to call it Essence School. Remember, Satya and I were in the same batch. Manvi sir talked about the GT couples. We are also a GT couple. The better half couldn't make it. She badly wanted to come and she couldn't make it today for some calls that she had to attend. So nevertheless, she used to call us Pavarala's jasus. Not that he was any FBI or CBI or whatever, but probably it was their coining of telling that how strong chelas we were of him. So we were so inspired by you, sir. I was actually 1 year in the theatre department. Couldn't make it to Essence School, frankly speaking, in the first attempt because there were only 18 seats. And not that I was okay, nevertheless. Then we were waiting in the margins literally to be embraced by him and his department. Thank you, sir. And there is a lot of I also need to tell you about my PhD. First, I started my PhD as a professional requirement because I was in a scientific institute. When I was somewhere midway through my PhD, I was literally taking some of the research I was already doing there. And one thing on one fine day, Professor Pavarala told me is, why don't you look at how organizations problematize nutrition? So that was a lesson, and that was an important part of my PhD thesis as well. And that lesson I still have today. Who actually supports your research? What are they asking you to do? And what you're doing? And that lesson lives with me. And your influence is there in a lot of things that I do. And some of your thoughts are also there in a lot of things I do. Thank you, sir. Thank you for being with us. And best wishes from Vijaya. And thank you, Professor Aparna, wherever you are. I can't see you. Thank you for being such a great support. I know how great support he is for you. And this is another GT couple. The OG GT couple. I know the... Yeah, I thank Satya for allowing me to jump the line. And also, Satya told me very clearly, felicitations are after speeches. But sir, I have to attend a wedding. So I'll felicitate first and then leave. Thank you. I'll ask my colleagues, my batchmates, Sivareddy and Gopi, if he's there, and my senior Vinod to also join me. Please. Satya, please join. I thought we have skipped the shawl. No, sir. This is... I was always wondering why shawls are given. They have to show one. Nutritious.
Dr. Subbarao is heading communication area in National Institute of Nutrition. He is scientist G, which is a very high cadre. Only directors will be given that cadre. So he's the only one in communication who has got that. He's also a royal fellow of Royal Society of Nutrition. In communication.
It's all a batch. Where is Gopi? Gopi, join. Come. We wanted this moment. Sorry for snatching him from all of you. Thank you very much. Sir, thank you very much.
I now request Mr. Matthew Kuruvilla. He has come all the way from Bombay. Mr. Matthew.
It's indeed a pleasure to be here. When I heard about this event, I really canceled the whole day. And I said, I need to be here. I can't be anywhere else. So I'm taking a little bit of a shift from what we've been hearing till now. Because your profession grows on you, you end up doing what you think you're good at. Most of my days I spend with leaders who run huge corporations. Crores of rupees worth of performance of organizations are dependent on these leaders. Though I studied media here in '96, I ended up spending 6 years doing different kinds of postgraduate programs. And I've moved away from media, and I currently work as a partner at one of the consulting firms which looks at leadership development. I thought it made a lot of sense for me to really assess Dr. Vinod as the leader that he shows up. And we've heard all that people have said about, right? And if you were to really see what really makes Vinod stand up so tall is his ability to raise the bar on himself and everybody around him. So he raises the bar on himself and he embodies that leadership so that others can just follow. And there is no way you can escape. Yes, there will be people who won't understand what he's trying to do, but you need to have the instinct and the maturity to understand what he's trying to do. And that's what corporate leaders are expected to do. They raise the bar on themselves and they raise the bar on their organization. And that's why they grow the way they grow. The second thing that leaders are expected, and that's what I look out for in corporate leaders every day, do they stay at the cutting edge of thought leadership? If they don't stay at the cutting edge of thought leadership, they cannot contribute to the corporate. Dr. Vinod does exactly that. He stays at the cutting edge of thought leadership. You can have a conversation with him on anything, and you get a pretty deep analysis of what we have not understood, or the perspective or the vantage point from which we are looking at a problem. Okay? The third thing is, leaders need to have the ability to connect the dots, see the big picture. And that's what he constantly does. If you were to look at the UN chair, so if you were to really look at pre-95 and post-95 of the school, the reputation this school enjoys and the quality of faculty who pass through and all the students who pass through have benefited because of the vision he is able to articulate and bring it to life. And bringing that vision to life in an institution which is very densely bureaucratic and which is public funded is very difficult, because I work on corporate effectiveness. So I work in the intersection of leadership and corporate performance. I know very well the kind of pain he would have gone through and the courage he would have had to demonstrate to make this missionary work and keep it accountable to every student who passes through this school and make them productive and efficient, right? And the last piece, and I end my talk with this. Leaders, great leaders, hone potential. And we heard many stories, personal, touching stories, since we started this discussions. They've all talked about their inefficiencies, their difficulties, the challenges, the struggles they were going through, but he never made them feel small. He never judged them. I spent 4 years in this university campus. This is the only professor for whom I have come all the way. It talks a lot about the individual leadership of Dr. Vinod. Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming all the way from Bombay, Mr. Matthew Kuruvilla. And we have an alumnus from 93-95 batch, Sanu John Varghese. Have I said that correct now? Correct? Yeah, he is a sort of cinematographer in Bollywood, Tollywood, and Collywood. So, can you please speak a few words? Yeah, I also use this opportunity to enroll his services to train our students in cinematography.
Hello. Good evening, everyone. Extremely difficult to stand here and look at people looking back at you. Not really used to this. Actually, from what Manvi sir spoke and from what everybody else spoke, I realized one huge thing about our batch and myself. We were in the Manvi sir CVS film school, and one fine day, a man wearing a T-shirt saying "Subvert the dominant paradigm" walks in, and so. Suddenly, we were, thrown into a newer world of ideas and, other frames of looking at the society and the world around you. And, we were caught, and we are that schizophrenic generation. If you look at our batch, where people went, they went in completely different directions. Wherever they went, people did well, but it is that transition batch, I think. The influence Vinod sir had on us and still has on us, it keeps coming back to us almost every day. I am a guy who came from, pretty much like how Manvi sir said, we came from a completely non-academic background. I was doing fine arts. I was trying to paint and stuff, and that's when I joined the communication thing. He made me do 2 papers, one on literacy and one on Foucault power theory. I did both of them with utmost sincerity and presented the paper smilingly and got away with it. But the way he, made us look at the world differently, and his approach to it, the meticulous ways in which we were asked to do things, most of it has stayed with us. We remember him almost every day. I'm married to somebody from my batch, and as we bring up the kid, we look at teachers, and what is the who are those teachers from? It's the whole Guru Sagaram of so many teachers for the last 50 plus years. And we look at, why do we remember that teacher who looked at you to, who taught you to look at the world as chemical reactions. Everything is aging, everything is rusting, that's all chemical, everything is chemical. And then Sir is the one who gave us those frames to look at the world around us. And it has stuck with us. And, I am very fortunate to be here here now. When he is retiring, we were there when he came back, 95. Yeah, like a huge influence. Thank you, sir. I feel fortunate to have been your student. I feel fortunate to be here to say this. Thank you so much. All the best, sir. Wherever you go, you will be an asset to anywhere. I know you are getting older, wiser, like wine. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Sanu John Wagis. Now I call upon Vinod Pavarala. He is currently working with PwC as a consultant.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. When Satya told me about this, I definitely wanted to come. So one of the reasons is that as every one of you was speaking, I'm so happy because there is one thing that I have common with Dr. Vinod. I'm also Vinod. It feels as if everyone is talking about me. There's also a couple of things that we share. Both of us actually are the alumnus of the sociology department here. So before joining GT, I did my MA in sociology. And there was another very, very beautiful thing that's common between both of us. Both of us are students of Professor Ratna Naidu, one of the most eminent scholars India has produced. I'm not from the academic area, and I'm also not from the film and television area. I'm from a very boring area called corporate communications. Okay, I've been in the corporate world for quite some time, and you may wonder, what does an academic has taught somebody which could be of use in the corporate world? One of the things that at least I try to teach people in my team is that before you become a good professional or good in any field that you are in, you got to be a good human being, right? That's something that I've learned from Dr. Vinod. And irrespective of whether you are in communications or information technology, wherever, whichever career that you are in, there are a whole lot of things which are required to be successful in a career, right? I mean, if you go back and listen to what so many people have said, all those characteristics are there. So this is not just about communications or in school. The kind of qualities that Dr. Vinod stands for are like a template to be successful in life and in career, right? There are 3 qualities that I personally, have learned from him, which till today I practice. One is empathy. The other thing is that in a room, you give space for every voice to be heard, right? And there was another thing that you have beautifully brought about, which, it had a lot of influence on me in my career, which is eye for detail. Dr. Vinod teaches you that you don't take anything on the face value. You don't, look at anything just the way it comes to you, but you question it. And, and there's a whole lot of research and detail that goes into it. These are something that, I really cherish a lot, and I try to, impart the same thing in my teams. And these are some of the things that I try to teach to my son also. I'm immensely grateful for Dr. Vinod for who he is as a person, as a mentor, as a colleague to all of you, and I wish you all the best, sir.
Thank you, Vinod. I may not know some of the PhD or MA alumnus. If you are here, you can also raise your hand and claim your right to speak. Now, can I call Anita? Do you want to speak? Anybody? Now I call upon Lakshmikant Sunkara, who is here.
Yeah, good evening all. So in my batch, people used to call me as Junior Pavarala. Maybe I was thinking because I am taller, but later I realized that I was talking more with my classmate Aparna. Yeah. So the reason why I thought to share with all of you today is I don't know, once I am done with this mass communication year, I was placed just opposite to this campus, CMC Limited. It's a Tata Group company now. Anyway, TCS has taken over. So I used to come often to see sir and spend time here. And then I moved to Satyam, and thanks to another Vinod, Vinod Mavilla, I wanted to thank him because it's the right forum. I thought he was the one who called me that there is an opening in his department. He was heading the corporate communication. Under that, there was a team. Then I was there for a stint and then moved to learning team. And then from there I moved to Cisco. Then I moved to Hyundai R&D. So I was thinking where this communication and all was used. It really helped me. In fact, in the last stint, I was heading the procurement team also, finance department also. When I was with Hyundai R&D, there was a big, financial kind of a thing, irregularities. Then I was asked to lead the CSR team. There, what SAR spoke development communication 20-25 years back, that really helped us to bring, and it also received, the initiatives received from headquarters. Our chairman, Hyundai chairman, thanked the kind of change what we were doing. So I think it is because of Dr. Vinod sir, this kind of impact. In fact, all of the Koreans were thrilled because I was also talking about participative communication and those things. So in a corporate sector, somebody talking about these things was very different. I was looked at very differently because I was talking about hegemony and things like that. So that connection was there because I was part of Hyundai. That also helped me to be in touch with sir because he was having Hyundai Varna. So whenever there was some service due, he used to call Lakshmikant, can you help me? So after that, again he changed his car. Now I am not getting any calls. Yeah. So important decisions whenever, I think some of you might have seen my video. The first thing what I did when I got married, I took her outside and said that we will go to Central University. Then she said, why? Because I thought I will go to Buffalo Lake and Peacock Lake. And then Around 4:30 we came here. I said, I want to meet sir. Then she said she was very happy. I took the blessings of sir. And I had my children. I also took them and took his blessings. Yep, it's not Aparna, Priyanka. So after 24 years of corporate stint, I moved and I'm having my own consulting. I'm into real estate consulting and also into HR and OD consulting. That decision also I took. I visited his house and I spent nearly 1 hour, sir, on that day. I shared him. Then he said, please think twice. Now, I think he also thought twice before venturing to Mahindra. So, yeah, so he's more than a sir for me. And I feel like a family mentor, somebody helping me. So always I looked at him as a person who guides me and supports. I wish you all the best, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Lakshmikant. We see Farhatullah Beg here, a good friend, who has been director of film festivals. He was initially bringing film festivals to us. We collaborated with him. He's a documentary filmmaker based in Hyderabad. So,
yeah, thank you, Satya. I had graduated from Jamia Millia Islamia, and this was way back in 2002. And I told everybody that I was too unhappy about India Habitat Center, India International Center, kind of a gallery audience. So I would tell my teachers that if my grandmother in my village in Guntur doesn't understand, how could it be mass communications? So I was always fascinated by mainstream media. So the films that inspired me in my in my early college days was something which I wanted to do. So I came back to Hyderabad. I told people, Ram was also there. He's the first person I worked with. So I told Ram, everybody, that see, within 3 years, I'm going to make a blockbuster in Telugu films. Now it's 20 years. It didn't happen. I don't even come anywhere near to the industry. Yeah. So first time I went, I was trying to get connections, and Vinod was one of the first people whom I met with a bunch of films. I think there were 50 films from different countries, and those are VHS days. And this was way back in 2005. I resigned from ETV. Manvi sir was my boss there. I resigned on 11th month. I said, sir, I'm not able to connect with the industry here. I don't want to be with ETV because I'm not really able to contribute. So the whole journey of trying to connect with people, somebody said Hyderabad Central University has a good department. Why don't you go and meet them? So Vinod was like very, very welcoming. He didn't know who I was. I just walked into the department. I said, I'm from so-and-so, and then I have these films. Can we have a film festival? So we had a very interesting film festival. And Satya, that was his first year. Yeah. So yeah, he just joined. Which year was that? 2003? I think 2003 was the year. Yeah. So, and he was newly married, and then he invited me for his to his house for lunch, and still I remember that lunch. So yeah, and then for me, the disconnect between theory and practice was something which would always disturb me. When I went to Delhi, I was a PIG in JNU. We all permanently illegal guests were called pigs. So I was there, and I was too bored with all the theoretical framework, and then people would not really, I wouldn't see any outputs out there. So that's where I felt that, okay, mainstream is what I need to be into. So I came here, and then the disconnect between the academics and the outside world was what would not be very convincing for me. But I would see Vinod everywhere. If there is a Manthan Talks, Vinod is very much into it. There's a HLF, Vinod is there. Vinod is omnipresent in Hyderabad. So I think it's a great personality that you all are going to miss in HU. But as long as you're in Hyderabad, we are happy. Thank you, Vinod.
Thank you very much, Farhatullah, for joining us today. Now I'm giving a last call to all alumni. Anybody from PhD or masters who wish to speak, Then I'll move to our officers and non-teaching staff who are here, who would also like to speak. And after that, we'll have felicitation sessions and take a photograph. Anybody who wishes to speak? Can I move to? Yeah, we'll move to officers and non-teaching staff. Ashish, our PRO for the last 18-20 years.
Good evening, everyone. It's been a wonderful opportunity to be here and be with all of you. I have known Professor Vinod Pavarala sir for the last 19 years. I joined here in 2007 and he has been a great mentor and a very good friend to me and my office. Thank you, sir, for all the wonderful time we have had together, and I wish you the very best, and I hope you would have seen the video. Thank you. Bye.
From our department, Ms. Venkatlakshmi Garu. And if anybody else wishes to speak, please be ready. From the staff first.
Good evening, all. Thank you for giving this opportunity to me. I'm very much thankful to Professor Vinod Pavarala sir. I was working from since 1998 onwards. I know most of the students here, and whenever I joined, Professor Manvi sir, CVS Sharma sir, and PP Sanjay sir were the faculty members. And whenever in the GT, whenever Pavarala sir going after the classes and all, by the time he will visit the studio, daily he will visit the studio, just I'm leaving. What we are doing like that. I know very well about sir and us. Thank you very much, sir, being with us. I am also the part of this journey. Thank you very much, sir. I wish you all the success in your future, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Our Venkatlakshmi Garu has been a junior engineer and technical head for 27 years now in our department. Anybody else from staff? Yes, please. No, that's why I'm asking. So you are part of our staff. Please. Ketaki Janvi is currently in charge of radio station Bol Hyderabad.
I don't know even like 30% of the people here apart from staff, but जब ये बोल हैदराबाद का नाम आया है, Vinod sir is the only name I have heard since I joined. So just two lines for him. As Professor Vinod Pavarala steps into a well-deserved new chapter of life, I wish to express my deep gratitude and respect for his invaluable contribution to the University of Hyderabad and to Bol Hyderabad 90.4 FM. I have heard from my senior faculties in department about Professor Pavarala's pivotal role in laying the foundation of Bol Hyderabad 90.4 FM. His vision, guidance, and belief in the power of community radio were instrumental in shaping the station into the vibrant, inclusive, and socially responsive platform it is today. His foresight and steady support have left a lasting imprint on the growth of the station. I would like to share a personal experience that reflects his commitment and leadership. When I was introduced to him as the new station in charge of Bol Hyderabad, Professor Pavarala was on his winter break. However, the very first thing he did after returning was to call me over for a detailed and thoughtful conversation. He shared the roadmap he had envisioned for Bol Hyderabad and clearly articulated his expectations from me. That interaction was both encouraging and empowering, and it gave me clarity, direction, and confidence in my role. It also reflected how deeply invested he was in the station and its future. What I have always admired about Professor Pavarala is he's always ready to help approach, whether it was guidance, problem solving, or support during challenges. He was consistently approachable and generous with his time. His calm presence, openness, and trust in the team created a nurturing environment for growth and learning. Even as he formally retires, I strongly feel that Bol Hyderabad 90.4 FM still needs him, his wisdom, perspective, and guidance. Institutions like ours grow not only through systems but also through the continued association of visionaries like Professor Pavarala. His counsel will always remain invaluable, and I sincerely hope that we continue to seek and receive his guidance as we move forward. As he retires, his legacy continues to live on through the voices, programs, and value of Bol Hyderabad 90.4 FM. I thank him sincerely for his unwavering support, mentorship, and lasting contribution. I wish you, sir, good health, happiness, and fulfillment in the new journey of life. His contribution will always remain an integral part of my professional journey and of Bol Hyderabad story. With heartfelt respect and gratitude.
Can I just 2 lines?
Thank you, Ketki. Jinath is our MA alumnus. Please go.
So I'm the batch of 17-19, and 2 things when Professor Kanchan told me last December that Sir is retiring, I was also of the same mindset. Okay, we can't imagine a department without him. Okay, and second thing that I'm reminded of, I am presently at Ecriside, is during one of the first classes, I think the first class that Professor Pavarala took for us, and attendance is an issue for students all the time. He said, I don't have to convince you to be in my class, and that was so true. He doesn't need to convince you to come to the class. He taught so well that you end up being in the class all the time. So, I mean, I felt so good being taught by you, and thank you.
Thank you, Jinath. I think we are through with people speaking, and Professor Vinod has patiently listened to all of us. Now I request him to speak for respond or speak or whatever he feels.
Yeah, after all that you heard and I heard today and yesterday, it's very difficult to respond with all the things that people were accusing me of, being calm and equanimity and all that. It's a huge emotional moment for me. As some of you know, I finished 30 years at the university in last August. So it's little over 30 years. And, but let me not jump the gun. I just want to pick up from where Mr. Manvi left. I mean, I'm so happy to see him today. So I think Sumana also mentioned it yesterday. I mean, I had a little guest faculty stint in 1991 at SM School when I came for my field work. 1 semester I taught, and I think there were people who became accidental students in that semester who remained friends till today, which is nice. But then I went back, finished my PhD. There were 2 people who were constantly badgering me to come back to India. One was P.L. Visweshwar Rao, who was my teacher in journalism in Osmania, and then he was the dean at SM School, the founding dean of SM School. He would tell me, what will you do in America? You should come back and do something here and all that. And the other person was my teacher and mentor, Professor Ratna Naidu. She would also write letters and saying, you should come back and work in India, being a social scientist, what will you do in America, that kind of thing. So, I mean, I didn't need much convincing. I mean, we always wanted to come back, and once Aparna finished her PhD, we packed up and came back to a As it turned out, there were no permanent positions. So those of you who are planning to come back, Aditya, you know, so I had to come back to a guest faculty position at Golden Threshold for a princely sum of 3,000 rupees a month. And so people who were urging me to come back and so on had to also contend with the university bureaucracy, positions being there, not being there. So it went on for a couple of semesters, and I was beginning to get frustrated that where is that permanent position they were talking about? And that wasn't happening. And then IIT Bombay, there was an opportunity to be a visiting assistant professor in the development studies program. So I went. Not that I was very eager to go to Bombay or to IIT, but just to tell people at Hessen School that I can get some other job, you know. So I did go there, and so I taught in their MPhil in development studies program. I worked quite closely with that student cohort. There was the Narmada Bachao Andolan was at its peak. So we would all go to the city, to Gandhi Bhavan, to listen to Medha Patkar. I mean, we ran a monthly newsletter called Development Alternatives. We did all kinds of things. I mean, so it was a nice, good break. But when SN School announced a permanent position, of course, I jumped at it, applied, and I come to the interview. It was a reader position, thanks to the IIT pay scales or whatever, plus my teaching experience elsewhere, Virginia Tech, Pittsburgh, and all that helped me to apply. Maybe not in today's rigorous standards of scrutiny and so on. It's very difficult to, get through the door these days with API scores and so on. Those days, people looked at your overall academic makeup and thought, okay, you're good enough. So I applied for that reader position, and I walk into the interview room. I find Professor Bashiruddin, who was one of the doyens of Indian journalism education, my old teacher at Osmania University, and Professor Epen, who is again another doyen. So between them, they founded all the communication journalism departments in the country. Epen, I think, took Kerala, Karnataka. Bashiruddin worked on Andhra and some other states. So these two, I mean, I didn't know Epen well enough. I knew Bashiruddin, of course. And by the way, Professor Vishweshwar Rao, who was urging me to come back, had gone back to Osmania already. So he was not in the dean's chair interviewing me. It was Professor Lakshma Gaud, the well-known Telangana painter, iconic figure here in Hyderabad. He was the dean. And these two, and a third interviewer expert was someone who became a lifelong friend, was P.V. Satish. And he was there not so much as the founder of DDS, but as a senior producer at Doordarshan. He already had served for 25 years, and our school had a tradition of bringing senior practitioners to also interview for faculty positions. And I didn't know Satish much at that time either. So these three were interviewing me, and it was quite something. I could sense hostility in Lakshma, and I realized later, Lakshma always had this deep feelings about all these Johnny-come-latelys coming from America with their fancy degrees, and what will they do here? It's like, you have to work. I mean, Lakshma was all into dirtying your hands and, work in the soil and that kind of thing, right? I mean, he's from Telangana. So Lakshma, I could see, was not very excited. And at one stage, Professor Govardhan Mehta, who was the Vice Chancellor in the chair, asked me, if you are selected, what will you bring to this department? And I think I was very inarticulate, and I mumbled something, I was saying theory, something, I don't know what, I don't remember very well, but what I remember very well was Bashiruddin coming to my rescue and saying, "So Vinod, what you are saying is you will bring balance to the department." So I said, "Great, sir. That's exactly what I'm trying to say. I mean, I don't know if I was trying to say that or not, but Bash was there, prompting me, and I did that. So I got in. Yeah. So that was a good, successful interview, and 1995. So I joined August 1995. I think we were called reader at that time. Subsequently, became associate professor. So you are long enough at regular intervals, you get kicked upstairs. So I did all that and became senior professor in 2019. But GT days were very interesting. I mean, like Manvi said, there were just two people when I joined. And as soon as I joined, CVS Sharma was given leave to go abroad on a Fulbright. In fact, CVS was selected for Fulbright by none other than Epen on the Fulbright board. And he was in the interview committee here. And so he negotiated a kind of a deal with the Vice Chancellor saying, "We'll select Vinod provided you send CVS Sharma on a Fulbright to the US." He went to Syracuse. So CVS left and I joined the department. And Mr. Manvi and me, the department. Yeah, there was no department. I mean, we were all disciplines, as some people explained. 4 disciplines and a dean sitting at the top. Sanjay joined a few months after I joined as a professor, and Lakshma promptly left the chair. He hated being dean, and then Sanjay became the dean. And we were all called disciplines, but you can imagine all of us were fairly indisciplined. Each one doing their stuff. And GT was a great place. I don't think many of the students know much about the GT space, but it was an artistic space. It was, filmmakers, FTI directors. I mean, all kinds of characters. MF Hussain had walked in bare feet. I mean, and did all kinds of interesting things there. I mean, so the place was buzzing with activity, right in the middle of habits, and so people would drop in all the time. So there was a lot of excitement. And what Anuradha was talking about, we were trying to bring some sense into that indiscipline. There was something called a common course that every MA student had to do in GT. No matter which discipline you belong to, there was a common course on culture and aesthetics kind of a thing. And I think students either hated it or loved it. I mean, there were no other options. We all took turns to teach in that program. So I created a curriculum working with others and so on. We moved to campus. Again, I had to gently persuade a lot of people saying it will be good for us to get integrated into the main campus. I mean, we can't be an independent republic all the time in golden threshold flying our own flag, And Sanjay was also quite supportive as the dean, and we worked together and moved. And I did regret it immediately because we were put in that dump. Some of you know, next to the cup and saucer circle opposite the Lakeview guest house, which was like barracks, old humanities building. And we were given that space by the vice chancellor, who kept telling us, "We'll get you your own space, your own building," all that. And that took a good 8 years after that. So many batches went through those barracks. But I think the spirit of SN School was that I think some of our best days were in those barracks. I think it was small. Our studio was, so tiny that taller people could just touch the ceiling. And I think Anjali and Jaishankar did workshops in that space when they came. Paromita Ora was there. I mean, we brought in everybody who mattered in the field to that dump, and we did fairly well. And 2006, I became dean, And 2009, I finished my first term. So something that happened in between, some people didn't like it, but I thought we were all growing a little bigger than when we were in Golden Threshold. And I initiated a process of departmentalization. Yeah, and saying one dean can't manage all these things. Departments should run under their own heads of department with their own autonomy and decentralization, all of that. And we did that process. The vice chancellor was supportive, and we became departments. Yeah, that was the first thing, and then people became heads of department. Yeah. So 2009, I finished my first term, and usually if you serve as dean for 3 years, you are waiting to get away. I mean, the meetings and the bureaucracy, the funding issues and all of that. And I was all set to leave. And some of the senior faculty of the school, including Shyam Sundar of Fine Arts, and I think Anuradha, if I'm not wrong, Professor Ananthakrishnan, went to the Vice Chancellor without my knowledge and said, can you please let Vinod continue for one more semester? So that, because I think they were reluctant, and also the building was coming up. That laterite building was coming up, and the VC was also inclined not to disturb the leadership at the school. So I got saddled with 3 more years of SN school leadership. So it was a lot of work, I mean, but it was always a pleasure to be heading SN school. I mean, the kind of eminent theater people we got, dance people we got, I mean, from Anita Ratnam to Anuradha Kapoor, I mean, the who is who of theater and dance would be here, of fine arts, such eminent artists would be here, and you get to, interact with them as the dean. So it was great doing all that. And those were also days, Satya, when SN School had a little more funding than today. I think Anuradha mentioned that, some of the heads may not believe, but those days the highest we reached was like 40 lakhs maintenance per year. I think we are down to about 10 lakhs now, or something like that. Yeah, I mean, funding cuts being what they are in public universities, I mean, they really took a beating. But we had funding to do things, to invite people, all of that. So I thrived in SN School. I mean, as a dean, as an individual, it allowed me to grow. And it was a very nurturing atmosphere, working with senior artists and theater and dance professionals who were my colleagues and my own immediate colleagues. The department started expanding a few years after Sanjay and I joined. Tirumal came on board in 1998. And later Satya, Vasuki, Kanchan, Janardhan, a whole lot of people joined it. At one time we were talking of 12 people in the department. And one of the things we did is, Usha, who was enjoying her freelance, independent status, teaching as a visiting faculty in the department in various stints. I think there was one sort of historic meal we had together where I sort of told her, it's time you came on board permanently, stop this freelance thing. And, she was very reluctant. I mean, I think she was enjoying that far too much. But 2010 is when Usha applied for a associate professor position. I think it was reader still. And we knew that it was, Usha was, in terms of seniority and her years of experience, was ready for a professorship. We didn't have one to offer her. There was only the readership, and had to do a bit of arm twisting to get her to agree to come there. And I think at least in terms of the kind of contributions that Usha brought into the department, I mean, the rest is history. I mean, all of you know her contributions, and, for almost 15 years, certain things we did in the department, she took it to a different level, and I have always been proud of that choice that I made, and making sure Rusha comes on board. The writing program, and as the digital domain started expanding and becoming foremost in academia, Usha is the one who anchored all of that thinking through teaching and her own research. So thank you, Usha, for that contribution. Today, Thirumal was saying we are one of the best departments in the country and all that the other day, yesterday. It seems like so many days I've been here, but it's because we have had such excellent faculty, each contributing something unique and special from their own perspective. Thirumal, didn't care much for what we were doing until he walked in, and once he saw what we were doing, he was saying, "No, this is not what I want to do. I'm into some other things." Thirumal was talking about historiography, critical history writing, and subaltern histories, and those kind of things. And we said, sure, why not, right? So he started creating courses, content. So we have always been, I think, as Anjali said, been a very democratic space, allowing faculty to grow into their own, contribute what they can from their own positions of strength. Satya was recruited earlier on to do production work. We expected Satya to be a, sort of full-time production work, and he sort of re-engineered his own academic work. He read a lot. He got into critical theory, print cultures, and so on. And Satya is now a theorist, so and he's a researcher with books against his name. Does political economy of media. So each one brought their own strengths. Vasuki, we thought in Vasuki we found a replacement for Mr. Manvi. So when Manvi left for ETV, founding the ETV network, they benefited a lot from his experience and expanded like anything. And we had a huge vacuum. A lot of temporary faculty, production, teaching, not very happy until Vasuki moved from Tezpur University, right? He was at Manipal, Tezpur University, and again, we kind of, persuaded him, saying, "What are you going to do in Tezpur? Northeast, and you belong here. You just apply and come back here." And we got Vasuki here. It's almost now 20 years since he's been here. Kanchan. So what can I say about Kanchan? So it's been 25 years since I met Kanchan. She joined for PhD in 2000. I don't even remember now, Kanchan. There were some exotic topics she brought, saying she wants to do PhD on this. And I said, you know what, I am not really interested in this. And, that was just the beginning of my own interest in activism and advocacy around the community radio movement. And I was just beginning to do some stuff there. I said, see, all my time is now consumed by this. Are you interested in doing research on this? So she went back, and a few days later came back with a short proposal saying, yes, I want to work on this. And I think we never looked back since then. It's been 25 years of research association, and during that period, because Kanchan already came with some years of experience in Punjab teaching, and so using some of that experience, she joined here in one capacity, then moved up, and now of course is a professor, being head of department. And in Kanchan and Vasuki, I found the team that I needed at the UNESCO Chair on Community Media, which was set up in 2011, by which time we already had some record of doing work on community media. UNESCO asked us if we are interested in setting up a UNESCO chair, and we had no idea what that was. And they said, no, I mean, you've been doing this work. And I was always very clear that even if it's called a chair and it's supposed to be an individual recognized as a chair or whatever, I was always clear that it needs to work like a center, like a team, right? And in Kanchan and Vasuki, I formed that team and we did a lot of work. And one thing I started complaining in the last few years is that you guys keep looking to me all the time to tell you what to do. You know, I said, this is not going to work. I mean, you guys need to take it up and do your stuff, right? I mean, so I started imposing project leadership on Kanchan and Vasuki whenever, Vasuki trained community radios in Mongolia and Bangladesh during the COVID period on how to use social media for broadcasting, all of that. Kanchan, of course, led some very important projects for us on gender issues in community radios, more recently on indigenous languages. I mean, this is also my way of saying I'm not going to be around forever, right? I mean, that you need, and I think some of the seniors here who are heading or doing other institutions have to think deeply about transitions. And I think it's very important that transitions happen smoothly into capable hands when one is still around. In fact, I have been telling them that you people should take over the UNESCO chair when I'm still there, so that I'm around to advise and whatever. Of course, they wouldn't listen. They would say, no, as long as you are here, there's nothing. So I'm very happy to announce today that UNESCO has approved Kanchan Malik as the next chairholder. We wrote to UNESCO and we've got the formal communication from them. So, I mean, it couldn't have passed on to better hands. Kanchan has been a reputed scholar in her own right and has a lot of publications, done a lot of ground level research work. In fact, a lot of my work in the last 10, 15 years has all been with Kanchan. So because I also believed that collaborative teamwork is the way to do research. Those solo research efforts are now gone, particularly if you want to make an impact on some scale. You need teams, right? And I think she's been very much a part of that. And I'm hoping between Kanchan and Vasuki, they will continue to do some of the good work that we have been doing. And don't look at me like that, I'm around. So I'm not going anywhere. I'm very much here. I have a lot of people to thank, all my colleagues for their warmth and collegiality. I should also mention, I think around the time we organized the IAMCR in 2014 was the time when, I think around that time that Anjali and Madhavi joined us, bringing some sort of new energy into the department, and all of us were set in our ways and doing our stuff. Anjali came with a practice background and has contributed quite a lot in journalism, core journalism teaching. Because our department was not a journalism department and we never did much, formal journalism education, which started once Anjali came on board. And I think with Usha's departure, Anjali will take on some of the mantle of the writing things that Usha used to do. And Madhavi, who couldn't be here, Madhavi lost her father recently and so on. So Madhavi came from ACJ to us and being a great colleague, I roped her in on a UK Arts and Research Council project that we had during COVID on media and citizenship that we did with Professor John Downey at Loughborough University. Bhargav was very much a part of that, and then Madhavi. And again, I mean, Madhavi, expresses gratitude for being pulled into that thing, but you can pull people into things, but they need to measure up and then take it to the next level. And I'm very happy to see that Madhavi has done that. One of the publications we got out of that project was in journalism studies, which is like a huge thing. I mean, one of the top journals in the field. Between Madhavi and Bhargav, and they put together a nice article. We got published. A second one is on the way, and Madhavi just took off now in terms of her research agenda. She has had other publications, and I'm sure. I mean, this is a good augury for the department. As the next generation of teachers and researchers in the department doing publishing, research. I mean, that's the way to go. Satya was my MA student, right? So when your MA student becomes the head of the department, right? Something tells you that it's time to move on, guys. I mean, the department is in safe hands. The next generation leadership, and and in previous stints that he had as the head, I mean, he showed what he was capable of, that he could run the department efficiently, come up with his own ideas. And this is a full term now of 3 years, and I can sense that the next 3 years are going to be pretty good for the department. He didn't do a PhD in the department. Satya blames us for not admitting him into PhD, but he went to Usmania and got his PhD and got industry experience, worked in an NGO. In some ways also pushed him to come join us. So I'm glad that in terms of the faculty that we have been able to put together, I played some role in some of these colleagues who are now part of our department. I also should thank some vice chancellors like Dr. Kota Harinarayana, who was instrumental for, this is the Tejas project or something, right? He was light combat aircraft was designed by him. I mean, he is quite an eminent expert in aviation research and so on. He became the vice chancellor. I learnt a lot from him. Kota would have, to our utter pain as deans and heads, a weekly meeting of heads and deans and engineering people and everybody sit in this huge vice chancellor's room, and he would say, tell me what are the problems, what's happening, right? And then sort it out and so on. Great leader. And he stayed on campus, again, much to, my pain, because I lived on campus for some years, same time. So early morning walks were beginning to become painful. We would be going on a walk and Kota is walking on the other side. He would see me and then walk across and said, hey, Vinod, what happened to that campus radio application here? And something, you would think he would almost pull out his diary to take notes and so on. Yeah. So very hands-on, always on the go for the university. The other vice chancellor I remember quite fondly is Syed Hasnain. I think he spoke in one of the videos yesterday. So Professor Hasnain also was, I think I said yesterday, was ahead of its time, thought of a lot of interesting visionary things for the university, gave a lot of autonomy for department heads and deans. And the other Vice Chancellor I worked more recently with is Professor Apparo, and who has had a very tumultuous time in the university. There were lots of ups and downs. But again, as a long-time colleague at the university, where he himself worked for more than quarter century at the university, he treated university faculty, as colleagues, and he gave me quite a few responsibilities and never interfered. Once he gave me the responsibilities, he would say, mine would be the last word. Ashish would remember many times as the official spokesperson on some crisis, he would ask me to draft something for the media, and somebody like a pro vice chancellor would say, are you sure you want to say this, or you want to change something? And Appara would say, no, if Vinod has finalized that, let it go. So there was a lot of trust and faith placed in my abilities, and so I enjoyed working with him in different capacities. I was made the NAC steering committee to prepare for the NAC team by Professor Apparo. So subsequently, I did quite a few other committee things, but this is what somebody, I don't know, you call big words like integrity or whatever. The idea is not to, never compromise on what you believe in. That with the current administration, I've had my run-ins mostly around department issues, not my personal issues. Department was about to become the school of communication, which was denied, I think quite wrongfully, in the academic council. And I subsequently quit all the committees, in protest. And I never got back to working with this current administration. But even otherwise, whenever I see something important, something wrong happening, I wouldn't hesitate to write an email to the Vice Chancellor. If you are senior, might as well use your seniority for something useful for the institution, right? If you don't speak up, who will speak up, right? There's nothing that Vice Chancellors can do to permanent faculty, right? You are there forever, until you voluntarily retire or leave, right? So I managed to do that whenever the occasion arose. I wasn't much of a flag-waving, radical protesting in the campus on issues, but I always believed in sort of working quietly in the shadows, either with students or with faculty or with the administration, and see if we can make some institutional changes. I think those were important things, right? Sometimes in the anger and bitterness of movements, agitations, you are going after individuals, right? And you remove one individual, somebody else will come in, the structures will still remain the same. So a lot of my effort was also to see if can we make some dent in the structures, make some institutional changes that will last. I can't say we did a lot of things, but lot of committees, some of which I don't much care to remember now, whose recommendations bear my name still in the university. And some people curse me for some of those recommendations, but I'm hoping the right people appreciate some of the things we have done. Dalit students and others. We have done something. One other person is Janardhan here. Janardhan. So Janardhan has been a dear student, my PhD student who, Janardhan, if I can tell them, he took a while to finish his PhD. Yeah, and others like Bhargav, of course, competed with the time frame. But Janardhan already had a job in Naram, a public sector unit. He was trying to balance that work, not able to get leave and things like that. But it was great to have that PhD finished. I mean, he showed great deal of fortitude towards the end and made that last push to finish that PhD. And subsequently, when we had a position in production, which was his main stay back in Naram and his own training, he came on board as a faculty, as an associate professor of production, and has been a great addition to the department. All my friends here from the community media world, I think we are missing a few others, but I'm so happy to see all of you, Ram, Aarti, Ashish, whose association goes back many years. In some ways, Anjali and Jaishankar, although not quite part of the community media network, some of their work had such resonance with the work that we were doing. And the community radio practitioners who showed up from quite a few stations, which I hold in high esteem, from whom I have learnt a lot, are here. So I'm very grateful to them. The non-teaching staff at the department have been solid support over the years. I remember now people like Rajni, who worked with me in the department and in the dean's office, Vidyarani, Mallikarjun for a while, and Venkat Lakshmi, whose journey almost goes parallel to mine. 27 years. I mean, I finished 30 and Venkat Lakshmi finished 27, or he's on 28 years now. Yeah, so working in the studio. And Ramesh, who retired, and Ramesh Madhavrao. Madhavrao left SN School a while ago, but Ramesh retired more recently. And the department ran on the strength of the studio staff for so many years, right? So I'm really grateful to them. Thank you, Venkat Lakshmi Garu. Naveen is here? Yeah, Naveen was the sort of founder station manager for Bol Hyderabad. And when we recruited him, we didn't know what to expect, but he managed the station quite bravely with students, some of whom were interested, some of them indifferent. Students come and go. You know how campus radio stations run. And Naveen bravely managed the station. Currently, I can say for the last, how many years have you been here, Rambabu? 8 years. So Rambabu, in the last 8 years, was my left and right hand both. So without Rambabu, it would have been impossible for Vasuki and me to manage so many projects, and never allowing us to get caught up in the financial bureaucracy of the university. He would always manage. Ably assisted by Sudhakar, our system administrator, and a man for all occasions. I mean, although he's supposed to take care of only the systems, he actually takes care of the system called the Department of Communication. A lot of things Sudhakar does for us. Lately, Rajesh has been here, an all-round support for all of us. And Ramurthy more recently in the studio. So thanks to all of you for making my life as a faculty member easy. And the alumni, I mean, it was amazing since yesterday. I don't know, you must be tired listening to all those stories and things that they were sharing. But I think ultimately, when you leave after 30 years of teaching career in one university, all that you want to hear is, you've been a good teacher. And I think that I heard in plenty from so many of you. And I'm really thankful for all the students from 1995 to more recently, latest batches. I taught my last class last week. So thanks for bearing with me for all these years. And some of you who became friends for all these years after you graduated, I owe a lot of learning from your experiences in the field, in the industry. Matthew summed up, those leadership qualities that he imputed to me so well. Matthew was one of our star students. Already had a master's degree when he came to us, and so was Vinod, my namesake. Had a MA in sociology and then came. So they were mature students, people, classmates would look up to Matthew, sometimes annoyed by him in the class because he would have answers to everything. He would have already read the marks that I'm talking about, or Foucault or whatever, and so it's such a pleasure to see Matthew come all the way from Bombay just for today. Yeah. So. And Matthew has a family connection to Dr. C.V.S. Sharma, my colleague in the early formative years, who we lost very early to health reasons, and we miss him for such a long time. And we have instituted a memorial lecture in his name. And I at least try to make sure Matthew gets that poster every year. And Matthew lets me know whether he can make it, can't make it. So Matthew is like a family member of Essen School, through that connection. So thanks, Matthew, for being here. And Sanu, Sanu John Verghese is a star cinematographer in Indian cinema today. And I don't know, he's generous, but I think Essen School didn't have that much to do with his cinematography skills. We didn't teach cinematography. I mean, we were a television department, right? But Sanu steadfastly stuck to camera work all the time in GT. And he would be the go-to camera person for everybody, right? And it paid off so handsomely for him, and much wanted in Bollywood and other regional film industries. And it's a pleasure to see you, Sanu, and thanks for being here. I still follow you on Facebook and social media and admire those sketches you do. I mean, if you are ever friends with him on Facebook, see those sketches. I mean, they are such wonderful sketches he does, usually while on a flight or, while waiting in the airports and so on. And I can see that, where his visual grammar and culture comes from. So thanks a lot, Sanu, for becoming what you have become. So, and allowing us to stake some claim over what you became. So thank you. Thank you so much. And many other alumni are here. I don't want to waste time. Many of them, like Lakshmikant said, have become like family members, friends. I keep running into Anita everywhere, Janaya, I don't know who else is around. So thanks everyone for being here. I think I managed some level of equanimity without breaking down. And thank you all for being here and making it such a warm and affectionate send-off. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Vinod, for those generous words about all of us. And now you might be thinking that this is going to come to an end, and nobody else will speak. There is only one person who can speak even after this.
Can I just say one thing?
Yes.
Sorry. I actually forgot to say one interesting thing. I don't know if somebody saw Nirupam's video yesterday. Nirupam Sarkar, one of our former students who is now heading ETV Digital. Nirupam mentioned, remember that idiosyncratic thing that he removes his watch? Because he used to see me do that in the class. So recently, some of these people got together to give me a surprise treat. And Nirupam went around town looking for that exact watch. And it's an old Casio watch. I mean, it's not something that's very common these days, but it's exactly the same watch, which I don't know where mine is, but he got me that. So Nirupam, this is for you. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, sir. And the only person who can speak now is Professor Aparna.
Oh. She still gets to speak.
It's 7:45 and Vinod usually doesn't go over time on anything. And he says he won't speak much, but yesterday he spoke for 20 minutes and today he spoke for 45 minutes. Right, Jai Shankar? I'm sure you were also looking. Well, I'm very much part of this SN School family for the last 30 years, and I will continue to be a part of this family. And the only reason I'm here is to try to thank a little more level-headedly than probably Vinod would have, and in case he missed anyone, not intentionally, but probably unknowingly. So you missed the film that was made, and that's the main reason I'm here. And for the last 1 month, yes, Kanchan, I'm going to name you again. Kanchan has been harassing me quite a bit for lots of information, and then she knows that I may not come through fully, so she put a team of young students to get all the information. And of course, I would not deny them, even if I denied you. So thank you to the editor of the film, Adil Jamal, the coordinating team, Buffalo Media, Saurabh Upadhyaya, Abhinay Gautam, and the video supervisors, Kanchan ma'am and Satya sir. Well, I can't do too much of thanking. The PhD students have been family, especially Sumana and Kanchan. So one doesn't thank the family, but it has been a real learning experience for me, being part of this SN school and being a part of the university myself. It has not been an easy journey, I should say. But I'm sure all of you know that whatever I pick up from the University of Hyderabad will continue to go to Vinod, and he is not going to be spared by either me or many of you. So don't worry, he's very much here and going to be a part of this. I also want to say special thanks to people like Anjali and Jai Shankar, who came to SN School as strangers. Actually, I met them before Vinod met. We met at TIS because I was working there. But then so many people have become good friends, and I can't, if I start naming, then I can't say he took 45 minutes. But yes, it's Sanu. Actually, I don't think I would know you, but I've heard your name almost every week, and I can't say every day because that's an exaggeration, but at least once a week your name would be heard in the house. And Matthew, again, we know so much about you. And I can't say that, but it was really nice that you made more surprises today. Apart from all the surprises, I've never kept anything from Vinod, but last 1 month I had to keep so many things from him, and I had to find so many different people to tell. My sister-in-law is here, Vinod's sister, Vanita. So when I tell her, I would say, okay, this is what I'm keeping from Vinod now. So all this has been going on, and yes, I became co-conspirator for many of you, including Buffalo Media. Okay, thank you all for the love, for the affection, and everything that has sustained Vinod for the last 30 years. Thank you.
So this is what Aparna ma'am does, She, constantly pulling me up short for something or the other. I mean, you need that. So some reality check, right, from time to time. So thanks, guys, for the film. I should have thanked you. It was amazing. I don't know how you put together all those photographs. I'm sure you have had some co-conspirators collecting all those pictures and so on. I'll cherish that film for a long time. So I did want to say, a lot of people were murmuring, whispering or asking me, so what are you going to do next? So time has come for me to tell you on a microphone. It's not a secret anymore. A lot of people mentioned it. I didn't think of voluntary retirement in order to go somewhere. That's very clear because this is one of the best communication departments in the country. I'm not leaving because, it stopped being that. Or the university provided me everything. It nurtured me for all these years. One of the great public universities in the country. But, you would want to do something when you feel you still have some energy, when you still have some petrol in the tank, you want to drive somewhere. And of course, it turns out that this workplace, the drive is quite a bit. Yeah, it's about 20 kilometers from my house. And I'm joining this private university called Mahindra University, which is about 10 years old. I'm joining the School of Digital Media and Communication, which is just about 3-4 years old. It's just beginning. They have bachelor's, master's, PhD programs they have started. They have a long way to go. But, there's a little bit of excitement of a startup of the kind, one faced in Golden Threshold long ago or in SN School long ago, something to contribute to, something to build new. So that's the reason I'm going there, and I hope all of you will appreciate that decision for that reason. They want me to help set up a research center, an interdisciplinary research center in the school, which is what most of my time will be spent on there, not so much in teaching or whatever. So I'm going to be around in Hyderabad very much. So please keep sending me the research roundtable notices. And whenever there is something interesting, I will surely make time and drop in. Thank you.
So one last time, on behalf of the department, on behalf of all the faculty, all the PhD scholars, alumnus and students, I wish him all the best in his new journey. All the best, sir. We'll be in touch as we have been all the time. And now we'll have felicitations. First, the faculty of the department would like to felicitate him, and it will be followed by non-teaching staff.
Can I also briefly acknowledge my sister Vanita and brother-in-law Nageswar Rao who are here. They never much came to communication department events or, there was no particular occasion, but I'm glad they are here on this day. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us. So I request all the faculty of Department of Communication to come here first so that we can felicitate Professor Vinod. And all the staff, be ready. We will be next.